Chapter 561, Changing Fate, 4. Chapter 561, Changing Fate, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Those who performed well could even obtain the opportunity to evolve the iron-eating beast. The evolution materials were still included by the country. At this moment, Guan Yu almost cried. She felt that her years of persistence had not been in vain. She was determined and answered the country's call to join the army with her iron-eating beast. Although it would be very bitter, the benefits and treatment of a high-level professional beast tamer were already an opportunity that many beast tamers couldn't obtain even after working hard for their entire lives. After all, the master-level beast tamers in Pingcheng were only in the single digits. In the eyes of ordinary people, high-level beast tamers were already dragons and phoenixes among men, the level of graduates from the 9 top universities. Moreover, the country had already paid for the cultivation cost of the iron-eating beasts. They only needed to train hard. Was there a better chance to change their fate than this? Guan Yu was just one of the many iron-eating beast tamers. These iron-eating beast tamers from all over the country had similar experiences as her. The iron-eating beast was originally an ordinary pet of a transcendent race, but now it was filled with endless possibilities. Every beast tamer who came to the iron-eating beast corps had endless anticipation and looked forward to the future. Thank you, iron-eating beast. Thank you, Shi Yu. Sister, are you from Pingcheng? Why do you look so familiar? More than half of the people here are from Pingcheng. There's nothing strange, right? Guan Yu looked at the young man in front of her. Ha ha ha, that's true. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jiang Rui. I was once an apprentice at Bamboo Stone Dojo and was even lucky enough to be insta-killed in a battle with Shi Yu. Hello. Guan Yu? Why did he sound so proud? At this moment, an older young man in a new recruit uniform passed by. Yo, you're the junior brother of Bamboo Stone Dojo. You fought Shi Yu before? Ha ha ha, not bad. I'm your senior brother, an apprentice of the dojo a few years older than you. My name is Yang Qi. I once taught Shi Yu's iron-eating beast the Thunder Palm skill. Ha 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 ha. Yang Qi, the little bear who had once been a security guard at the training base of Mount Tuanmang, stretched out his tongue and laughed crazily with a smug expression. What? The new recruits' camp was in chaos. Many beast tamers from Pingcheng flaunted their relationship with Shi Yu. Instant kill could be used as a topic of conversation. Those who taught Shi Yu were even more like gods, attracting the envy of the beast tamers in other cities. Outside Emperor Wu ruins, thousands of new recruits were here to undergo recruit training. After all, this was the use of Emperor Wu ruins. In another direction. Similarly, a new army had gathered. Green Silkworm Cocoon Army. The registration conditions of the Green Silkworm Cocoon Army were a little diversified. Unless it was a mental strengthening talent, beast tamers who contracted a green silkworm with perfect proficiency worm silk could register. After registering, beast tamers with mental strengthening talent would be given free green silkworms with perfect skill proficiency. After that, including all other beast tamers, the army would help the green silkworm evolve into a green silkworm cocoon for free. If the iron-eating beast corps gathered beast tamers who had contracted iron-eating beasts in their early years for various reasons, then a portion of the green silkworm cocoon army gathered Shi Yu's fanatical fans. Because once the results of the green silkworm cocoon system of the feeding conference were announced, Dong Huang welcomed a bug-catching frenzy. Most of the people who contracted iron-eating beasts had metal element strengthening talent, but the evolution of the spiritual type green silkworm cocoon didn't have such strict requirements for the beast taming talent. Spiritual type psychic power was 100 times better. Here, a similar situation was happening to the iron-eating beast army. A young man with the ginseng baby whiskers of the refreshing capsule and baby ginseng in his pocket laughed and said, speaking of which, you might not believe me, but Shi Yu's first-time battle was taken by my brother Chen Kai. I've witnessed Shi Yu's growth all the way. I know that there must be someone among you like me who didn't have a mental strengthening talent and went bankrupt to buy a green silkworm with high worm silk proficiency. I'm very nervous now, but let me tell you, I definitely won't lose out. Do you see him? He's the nephew of our president of Ping Cheng. He's already here. Moreover, I have news. Do you know who our commander is? The legendary beast tamer, Hua. Xia. Jin. Have you seen a legendary beast tamer leading a newbie team? What kind of treatment is this? Beside him, a young man was silent. It was surprisingly President Feng's nephew, who Shiyu had defeated outside the Pingcheng ruins. These people had contracted a green silkworm with very high skill proficiency under the recommendation of their elders and came to the green silkworm cocoon army to further their studies. Many people chose an unknown path because of Shiyu. Many people changed their lives and fate to a certain extent because of Shiyu. At this moment, in the center of all the storms, the protagonist of all events, Shiyu, had already arrived at the center of the new recruit camp under the instant transmission of the traffic worm. Outside the door, Lin Xiaoju, who was wearing a panda suit, immediately waved with a smile when she saw Shiyu. Shiyu also walked up with a smile. Senior Lin, long time no see. It's been a long time. Lin Xiaoju said helplessly, I thought I was busy enough, but I feel that you're even busier than me. I should be pretty free these few days. Shiyu smiled. He just had to keep adding points these few days. There was nothing else. Apart from studying, the cool-down period for adding points was also taken up by meditation. He was indeed free before heading to the 7 Islands. Senior, let's go in first and discuss something. Who? Shiyu and Senior Panda directly entered the room inside. During this period, Shiyu told Lin Xiaoju his opinion. He said, I want the Iron-Eating Beast Corps to become the first army in this batch of new recruits. Who? Lin Xiaoju had just sat down when she was shocked by Shiyu. Although she also wanted it to be first in the Iron-Eating Beast Corps, the chances were too small. For example, the Green Cocoon Army led by Legend Hua next door couldn't be defeated 100%. How are your military expenses arranged? Shiyu asked. Lin Xiaoju said, apart from daily food, nutritional supplements, and medicine expenses, Bamboo Stone Dojo also provides cultivation methods and resources for Thunder Palm, Cannon Fist, and Giant Transformation. I hope these iron-eating beasts can learn. Shiyu smiled and said, the former can be shrunk first. In a while, I'll give you a skill teaching manual for absolute sleep to increase their training efficiency. The iron-eating beast can cooperate with the energy of this skill. There's definitely no need for as much resources. Teach this skill first. As for Giant Transformation, there's no hurry to learn it. Training that consumes too much energy. I'll give you another universal teaching method for enlarging. Using it with your research manual can increase the success rate of awakening. Apart from that, I'll give you an impregnable skill teaching manual. This way, they can also enjoy the skills after evolution before they even evolve. After that, I'll let 11 change their lazy personality through deterrence and imprint the mental seal of strengthening. At that time, we'll get a few more team competitions. Only by ranking in the former can we be qualified to learn impregnable and a giantization. The outstanding ones have a higher chance of being rewarded with evolution materials. Do you believe in miracles? They were all rolled up. There was nothing that the mental seal and reward couldn't solve. As Shiyu finished speaking, 11, who was in the ruined space, cried out. It wanted to self-discipline the iron-eating beast army and charge forward. At the side, Buggy's gaze was solemn. Was this reasonable? It was fine if it couldn't defeat the leader, but why did its clansmen have to be bullied by a panda army with the mental seal of working hard to become stronger? Was this fair? Woo! Buggy also chirped. It applied to guide the Green Silkworm Cocoon Army. It wanted to create an imaginative domain to guide dream training for the Green Silkworms to increase their mental strength and manually create the dream training device of Star Capital University. Chapter 562, Assigning Legendary Resources, 1. Chapter 562, Assigning Legendary Resources, 1. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. Absolute Sleep Teaching Manual. Impregnable Teaching Manual. These were good things. Both were top-notch high-level skills. Even the third index didn't record the teaching method of these two skills. However, teaching manuals were different from adding points to low-level skills. The success rate was not 100%. The success rate was related to the pet's race, attributes, level, talent, and the quality of the materials used. If Shiyu used the Universal Standard Manual to teach Baby Ginseng, it would be impossible for Baby Ginseng to learn anything. Therefore, Shiyu couldn't guarantee that every iron-eating beast could learn absolute sleep. However, the success rate of these iron-eating beasts learning impregnable would definitely not be small. After all, it was a racial skill after evolution. As long as they could all learn impregnable, then even if these iron-eating beast core pandas didn't evolve into 9 Li battle beasts, they could still display the power of the strongest army of Emperor Wu. After all, the most impressive thing about Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast core was the combination of giant transformation and impregnable. Lin Xiaozhu had long researched the skill teaching manual that allowed the iron-eating beast to learn giant transformation. Now, there was also the impregnable skill manual sent by Shiyu. Apart from these skills that couldn't be racial skills, they were already not much different from the 9 Li battle beast. The only pity was that impregnable required a certain amount of proficiency to upgrade to an army skill. This required time. However, in the beast tamer troops, soldiers had the least lack of training time. He could still slack off in school, but in the army, there were pitifully few opportunities to slack off. Almost all time was spent on training. At the same time, because there was a clear cultivation direction, the military expenses could probably be applied for. In the face of new recruits like the iron-eating beast army that might become a stable overlord race army in the future, the association would definitely not be stingy with the military expenses. Senior Panda looked at the two skill manuals Shiyu took out with a stunned expression. She widened her beautiful eyes and looked at Shiyu. "You, what kind of place did you come from?" "Guess." Shiyu chuckled. "By the way, you can also try to apply for the clear gem fruit. It's the kind of fruit cultivated by Imperial Capital University at the feeding conference that can awaken the army-skilled battle roar. This is still very useful for the iron-eating beast army that hasn't reached the monarch level." Lin Xiaozhu nodded like a rattle drum. "Then this." Shiyu took out a pendant that looked like a drop of water and gave it to Lin Xiaozhu. "This is a teaching tool condensed from the memory water of water and time skills. It contains the hardening skill experience above transcendent. In the next period of time, I might not have time to let 11 help your iron-eating beast increase its hardening level. Try this. This increased speed should be faster than the iron-eating beast increasing its hardening level one-on-one, but unfortunately, it's very difficult to mass-produce," Shiyu said regretfully. Mass production consumed too much energy for Shiyu, 11, Susu, and Baby Ginseng. At the moment, Shiyu didn't have much time. He wasn't free enough to even add points to his pets. Therefore, he only condensed the worm silk skill water droplet and hardening skill water droplet for the time being and gave them to Anchang and Senior Lin. He definitely had to nurture Anchang. After all, the other party had given him two precious family heirlooms. On Senior Lin's side, she had spent a long time helping 11 awaken its royal bloodline. Shiyu had said that he wanted to help 11 increase its hardening level for a long time. This time, he could finally do it. At the same time, there was also the psychic skill water droplet, the deterrent skill water droplet, the possession skill water droplet, the water dragon ball skill water droplet, and the rain prayer skill water droplet. Shiyu planned to give them to Senior Lu to strengthen the battle power of the Imperial Concubine Flower, the Courtyard Sprite, and the Mermaid Princess. This was also good for the strong alliance when the time came. Of course, before the batch of water droplets for Senior Lu was completed, Susu would have to work overtime. Therefore, Shiyu rewarded the legendary resource, Cold Sky, to it in advance. However, although it was satisfying, it still couldn't be completely used. If the super-racial skills didn't reach perfect proficiency and relied on resources to break through to the overlord level, it would cause the foundation to be unstable. Shiyu definitely still hoped that the pets could build a perfect foundation. Hardening memory. Water drop? Lin Xiaozhu still looked at the pile of manuals and treasures Shiyu took out in a daze. She looked up at Shiyu and said, "Is this the resource you said can quickly increase hardening proficiency?" Lin Xiaozhu originally thought that it would be some special metal element resource, but she didn't expect it to actually be a time element resource, a water drop that contained hardening experience. Why did it sound so unbelievable? Yeah. Shiyu nodded heavily and said, "I'll leave the mission of reviving the glory of the Iron-Eating Beast to you, Senior." Shiyu hoped that the Iron-Eating Beast Corps could become the strongest army in Donghuang in the future. This? Don't worry, leave it to me. Senior Panda took Shiyu's pile of resources and regained her fighting spirit. Shiyu was too generous now. Was this still that little newbie who relied on Bamboo Stone Dojo to eat and drink resources? She even wanted to hug Shiyu's thigh and beg to be his disciple. Apart from Senior Lin, who received Shiyu immediately, Hall Master Lin, Senior Bai, and Legend Hua and Dr. Zui, who were in charge of the Iron-Eating Beast Corps, also came to see Shiyu. Holy shit! When Hall Master Lin heard that Shiyu had brought Absolute Sleep and Impregnable manuals, he widened his eyes. Then what was the point of learning Thunder Palm and Cannon Fist? He could directly arrange for the entire army to be impregnable. Wasn't this invincible? Chapter 563, Distribution of Legendary Resources, 2. Chapter 563, Distribution of Legendary Resources, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. The army resonance produced by Shiyu's 31 iron-eating beasts was already strong enough. Even if the skill proficiency of the 1,000 iron-eating beasts couldn't compare to Shiyu and the others, it was obvious how fierce it would be. There's a skill manual for impregnable? When Legend Hua and Dr. Zui heard this, they were immediately shocked. They looked at Shiyu, especially Legend Hua, and asked, "Little you can't favor one over the other. Even I have personally come and helped you nurture an army. As the in-charge, shouldn't you also leave something? As the saying goes, the palm is flesh, and the back of the hand is also flesh. The Iron-Eating Beast Army is your eldest son, and the Green Silkworm Cocoon Army is your second son. Aunt Hua knows that you're more generous than most legends now." The beautiful woman also muttered. She and Master Lin were in charge of the two major new recruits at the same time. At that time, as a legendary leader and a famous insect-type doctor in charge of feeding, it would be embarrassing if her army was not as powerful as the army led by the Lin father and daughter. Don't worry. I'll get the Butterfly of Imagination to create an imagination dream domain that can increase the level of spiritual power and Worm Silk as a cultivation place for the Green Silkworm Cocoon Army to train, Shiyu said with a smile. The Green Silkworm Cocoon knew the racial skill Psychic. If the cocoon form increased the level of Psychic, it could also effectively increase the foundation of the Green Silkworm Cocoon after evolution. At that time, he would directly let Buggy eat a time fruit and use the power of an overlord to create a holy land of imagination. The Green Silkworm Cocoon Army would definitely not be weak under Buggy's blessings. The overlord level strength already had the ability to change the natural environment. Although the imagination domain couldn't be maintained permanently, it was still more than enough to train a group of awakening-level bugs for a year and a half with the suitable resource environment. The effect won't be much weaker than the Butterfly God's blessing, Shiyu confirmed. Really? Legend Hua and Dr. Zui were pleasantly surprised. Shiyu's words were enough. Of course. Shiyu. At this moment, White Brook also said with a happy expression, "Shiyu, I discovered a secret you definitely didn't discover." Huh? Shiyu looked at the beasted girl. Hair. White Brook took a deep breath and said, "Iron-eating beast, possession." In the next moment, light flickered on her body. White Brook instantly turned into a beast woman with a surging figure, long black and white hair, panda ears, and a panda tail. She opened her slightly red eyes and grinned. The racial talent of the Iron-Eating Beast King is to increase its strength slightly after recovering from an injury. I discovered that if it's in the form of a fusion with the Iron-Eating Beast and the Beast Tamer is also injured with the Iron-Eating Beast, even if we separate after the battle, the Beast Tamer can still enjoy some of the racial bonuses of the Iron-Eating Beast after recovering. My physique will be strengthened. In other words, if I recover from my serious injuries in the Iron-Eating Beast fusion state, my physique will be greatly enhanced. Legend has it that Emperor Wu is known as the strongest physique of humans. I think I know the reason. How is it? Are you envious? Whitebrook realized that the fusion talent was the correct way to open the Iron-Eating Beast Tamer. What? Shiyu looked at the cute senior Whitebrook in shock. A Beast Tamer with fusion talent could actually enjoy the racial talent bonus of an Iron-Eating Beast? Damn it, there was such a good thing? No wonder Zhongxian said that under the same level, Emperor Wu's physique was first and it was second. I'm not envious. Soon, Shiyu heaved a sigh of relief. Forget it, if he had to be beaten up to get stronger, how could it be better than comfortably eating supplements to increase his physique? This ability is good, but even if it's junior by, you have to take care of your body. Lin Xiaoju had a headache. Don't train yourself and the Iron-Eating Beast until you're covered in injuries every time. You're all girls no matter what. All right, Tilda. Whitebrook hugged Lin Xiaoju and smiled. I know the severity. Thank you for your concern, Senior Lin. Whitebrook sighed in her heart. She hoped that it was Senior Lu who injured her. This might even feel good. Ah. Shiyu looked at the completely familiar beast-eared girl and panda girl and immediately sighed. He hoped that Senior Lin wouldn't be harmed by Senior Bai. That day, in the ruins of Emperor Wu, thousands of Iron-Eating Beast Corps recruits gathered. Among them, the ratio of male and female soldiers was about 1:1. The female beast tamers who contracted Iron-Eating Beasts occupied a considerable number. However, because these new recruits had different experiences, their strength was uneven. A large number of them were even not professional beast tamers. These new recruits had just entered the beast tamer troops and had yet to completely adjust their mentality. The Iron-Eating Beasts beside them had yet to completely adjust their mentality. They still didn't know what kind of fire pit their beast tamer had brought them into. Deng! 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 Just as these new recruits stood in line and waited for the commander and the various instructors to appear, a scene that made them fall silent appeared. 30 little Iron-Eating Beasts less than a meter tall, the size of cubs, and much smaller than their Iron-Eating Beasts walked onto the high platform filled with the aura of overlords. What is it? Someone said blankly. Just as all the Iron-Eating Beast Corps recruits opened their mouths slightly, confused, something unexpected happened. With a boom, according to tradition, the veteran showed off to the new recruits. Chapter 564, Distribution of Legendary Resources, 3. Chapter 564, Distribution of Legendary Resources, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. The 30 Bean Bears, whose energy levels exceeded 1,000,000 and were at the Monarch level, suddenly released transcendent-level deterrence waves at the same time. The substantial deterrence waves shook the sky with might, sweeping up from their bodies like a hurricane. In the next moment, the pupils of the 1,000 Iron-Eating Beasts that were accurately attacked by this group of Bean Bears suddenly constricted. Their mental defense was instantly defeated. In an instant, they stood on the spot in a daze with sweat and fear, their eyes filled with fear. Their beast tamers' faces instantly turned pale. When had they ever endured a Monarch-level deterrence? Even if these deterrence energy fluctuations were controlled very well by the Bean Bears and wouldn't hurt them, the transcendent-level deterrence fluctuations wrapped around their bodies instantly made these new recruits tremble. Crack! Under the shocked gazes of all the recruits and Iron-Eating Beasts, the soaring deterrence wave tore open the sky, scattering the clouds, and directly tore open a huge spatial crack in the ruins of Emperor Wu. How is this possible? The new recruits of the Iron-Eating Beast Corps looked at the group of Iron-Eating Beast cubs in disbelief and shock. What exactly was this? From today onwards, for 7 days, they will all be your instructors. At this moment, Master Lin Hongnian, who was wearing a military uniform and had a determined expression, slowly walked onto the high platform. Beside him was an even taller and more powerful iron-eating beast evolution form, the 9-Li Battle Beast. The dark-armored domineering figure was more oppressive than any iron-eating beast present. However, at this moment, Hall Master Lin's 9-Li Battle Beast swallowed crazily between deterrence and trembled. Son of a B*TCH, even its deterrence proficiency was only expert level. What the F*CK was going on with this group of bin bears? Hall Master Lin also swallowed his saliva crazily, but on the surface, he still did his best. He stared at the group of new recruits with a cold gaze and said, "Treasure these 7 days." Behind the scenes, 11 observed in secret. They should cherish this opportunity. 11 thought for a moment and was afraid that the effect of its own mental seal would be too strong, causing these iron-eating beasts to suddenly die from excessive training. Therefore, it decided to squeeze the bin bear to imprint their mental seal instead. The bin bears also mastered transcendent level deterrence, more than enough to guide the thoughts of this group of lazy guys. After all, the bin bear was also trained by it. On the other side, a huge holy land of imagination with a level 7 spiritual energy crystal as the core was created by a huge butterfly with a 100-meter-long wing. The entire area suddenly became dreamy, like a paradise in the spirit domain filled with white mist. The domain was as big as a football field, enough to accommodate many green silkworms, and even green silkworm cocoons sleeping and cultivating inside. Shiyu stood underground and looked ahead. He nodded in satisfaction. As for Legend Hua and Dr. Zui, they opened their mouths wide and looked at the butterfly of imagination that had enlarged to its complete state after eating the time fruit. Energy points, 53,450,000. Sensing the terrifying energy fluctuations of the butterfly of imagination, Legend Hua and the others, who didn't understand, were completely shocked by Buggy's shocking strength. Especially Legend Hua, who felt that the energy fluctuations emitted by the butterfly of imagination weren't much inferior to her myriad flower butterfly fairy king, and was speechless. It was still like yesterday when Shiyu brought the green cocoon to evolve. At some point, Shiyu actually had the battle power of an overlord. It was too fast. Although it was only a few seconds after creating the imagination domain, the butterfly of imagination seemed to have leaked air and shrunk to the size of a palm in exhaustion. But be it the instantaneous eruption or the magnificent feat of changing the environment, it shocked Legend Hua and the others. As expected of the number 1 person below the legendary level. Just this move was enough to make any beast tamer below the legendary level cry. "You flatter me, you flatter me. I'm done here." Shiyu clapped his hands and smiled. All right, he had already arranged the initial stages of the iron-eating beast army and the green silkworm cocoon army. How far they could go next depended on their own hard work. As for the mechanical phantom beast army, Shiyu didn't care. Compared to the iron-eating beast army and the green silkworm cocoon army, the lower limit of the mechanical phantom beast army was very high. It might be that all the monarch races could take off with their eyes closed. It was better to leave it to General Xiao Qin to do it herself. Ling was still busy researching itself, so how could she have time to lead the army? On the other hand, the mechanical tyrant dragon was very keen on being king. It probably wanted to have its own underlings. Next. "Why don't you let your ginseng baby?" Legend Hua still wanted to say something. For example, letting baby ginseng plant some flowers and grass. The green silkworms could increase its evolution foundation with a bite. Shiyu hurriedly said, "There's nothing next, I want to rest." Good heavens, they had military expenses, so just use military expenses. Didn't ordinary people pay so much taxes for them to spend? Although he was in charge of the army, they couldn't just suck him dry. All right, Legend Hua said with a smile. "I'll call that girl Qingwei over too. In any case, she's already a master. Why would she go to school?" Dr. Zui looked at the cultivation field in front of him and also made a decision. Shiyu had a strange expression. Anything was fine. Well, were the people, White Brook, Xia Qingwei, who had been crushed by him in the National League, going to work for him? Unfortunately, if only he could let Jiao Xian work for the Mechanical Phantom Beast Army. Shiyu still admired this guy. Chapter 565, Distribution of Legendary Resources, 4. Chapter 565, Distribution of Legendary Resources, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. If the ethereal bracelet he created was given to every soldier in the 3 armies, wouldn't it be awesome? However, considering that Jiao Xian might not want to talk to him now, Shiyu decided to talk about it in the future. After coming to Wu Ling City and providing hundreds of millions of help to his Environmental Protection Department army, Shiyu entered the ruin space with the beautiful future of his Environmental Protection Department army in mind. After entering, he realized that there was still a cooldown time for skill teaching. He couldn't help but sigh. A meeting! Shiyu shouted and pulled 11 and the others together in the ruin space. 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, Susu, and Ling looked at Shiyu and waited for instructions. Now, I have a total of 5 legendary resources in my hand. They are Aurora Magnetic Gold, Legendary Dragon Ball, Divine Earth of Life, Bone Sword, and Cold Sky. Among them, Shiyu took out the Aurora Magnetic Gold and threw it to the excited 11. Among them, the Aurora Magnetic Gold is theoretically the reward for first place in the team meeting. If you also want to get the legendary resource, you have to get first place in the team. Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, Susu. It was so difficult. 11, woo woo woo. You guys have to work hard. It hugged the magnetic gold with love. However, considering that the World Tournament is approaching, there's not much time to hold frequent meetings for you to compete. Therefore, I decided to let you use the legendary resources first, Shiyu sighed. Woo! Yi! Am I? Nink! The pet's eyes lit up with surprise. Our beast tamer was finally a kind human? You just have to remember that you owe yourself first place in the team. After using the legendary resources, you have to work twice as hard. Shiyu muttered. I want to see who hasn't gotten first place after 7 or 8 internal team competitions. Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, and Ling's expressions turned cold. Damn it. They all had stronger self-esteem and didn't have any bad mentality. When they thought about how they didn't get first place in the team competition after 7 or 8 years after using the legendary resources in advance, they immediately felt embarrassed. No matter what, they had to get first place in the team. Woo woo. 11 looked confident and advised them not to think about it. With it around, such a thing couldn't happen. However, although the legendary resources will be distributed to you later, you're not allowed to use them directly. You can only use a portion of its power to cultivate slowly. Don't use it to break through the bottleneck of your growth level. Without my permission, no one is allowed to break through to the Overlord level, Shiyu warned solemnly. Ling, tell them what the consequences will be if they directly break through to Overlord. After a moment of silence, Ling said, the Beast Tamer will directly be drained to death. No one will give you more points in the future. The pets! Shiyu sighed and said, that's the logic. Therefore, 11, you mainly use the Aurora Magnetic Gold to learn the White Thunder skill. Continue to use the power of resources to slowly strengthen your physique through electromagnetic control. Don't completely absorb its power. Woo! 11 nodded. Buggy, you are using the Dragon of Imagination to train your spatial attainment with the legendary Dragon Ball. After that, I'll teach you spatial control, anti-magic domain, and other skills to use with the Dragon Ball. Don't directly swallow the Dragon Ball to break through levels. Woo! Buggy nodded. Most importantly, Baby Ginseng, you too. You're not allowed to eat the divine soil of life. Instead, you have to take root in it yourself and slowly strengthen your life force to increase the level of that source of life skill. Try to get close to the perfect level. When I add points to you, whether I die depends on the increase in this skill. Although they were all mid-level willpower, Shiyu felt that 11's willpower level was still a little stronger than Buggy and Baby Ginseng. Every time he and 11 did a points adding session, they were so miserable even with the support of everyone. If he added points to Baby Ginseng, no one would heal him. Either Baby Ginseng wouldn't be able to hold on, or Shiyu himself wouldn't be able to hold on. Although Baby Ginseng's clone could be left behind to assist, the effect of the clone's support was definitely inferior to the main body. Fortunately, during the period of adding points to 11, Shiyu's physique was still rising. Otherwise, Shiyu really suspected that he would die from exhaustion when he added points to Baby Ginseng. Therefore, it was very meaningful to overdraft the Divine Earth of Life for Baby Ginseng to use in advance to increase the level of its source of life. This way, even if it was a life clone, the support effect would be pretty good. Yeah. Baby Ginseng's expression was firm. Kai Tong, the bone sword, is relatively special. You just have to possess it often to strengthen your spiritual body, but remember not to absorb its power at a high intensity. Mi. Susu, you too. Use the cold sky drop to sense the changes in the attributes of ice and water. Don't devour it directly. Focus on familiarizing yourself with the form of the Ice Slime King. Ling, supervise them. Ning. Yes. Susu and Ling replied at the same time. Shiyu smiled. All right, after distributing the legendary resources, he could continue to increase points. Next, he had to wait for half a month. At that time, he could head to the 7 islands. During this period, Shiyu planned to hurry up and increase 11's battle power. It was still short of 3 skills to expert level all super skills. Chapter 566, Distribution of Legendary Resources, 5. Chapter 566, Distribution of Legendary Resources, 5. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. 10 days later. Shiyu still diligently added points to 11. At the side, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, Susu, and Ling worked hard to support. Woo! Now, 11 had already advanced all the low-level racial skills into Dao proficiency, and all the low-level teaching skills were transcendent. Those that weren't super level were all regarded as low-level by Shiyu. As for super skills, apart from the lightning rod skill, 11 was already proficient in all of them. From inner power to the undying golden body, it was proficient in all of them. Now, 11 was experiencing the last point increase to raise the lightning rod to expert level. Shiyu and 11 were both in endless pain. After adding points so many times, Shiyu also discovered it. The experience of adding points to different super skills was different for pets. For example, when 11 added points to the undying golden body, it was really like it had died countless times. It had to experience endless pain that was almost death. When 11 added points to the lightning rod, it felt that it was being tortured by countless lightning without any extraordinary power. It recalled the most basic fear of lightning in the beast bloodline. This experience made 11 and Shiyu, who felt it with 11, feel immense pain. At this moment, Shiyu was still wondering if Buggy, Kai Tong, Baby Ginseng, Ling. Could the 4 of them really withstand the pain of adding points to super skills? Apart from Susu, he still wasn't confident. It was quite easy to be distracted and let his imagination run wild in endless pain. Shiyu was considered unique. He had really trained it. If humans also had a will level, his current level could also be medium. However, Shiyu quickly realized that it wasn't that his willpower level had broken through, but that the adding process was suddenly approaching the end. It took less time than any previous time to add points to 11. This feeling was just like when he added points to Susu back then. The white-haired Shiyu suddenly opened his eyes. Woo! Ning yi am I? This is, apart from that, Buggy and the others who had added points suddenly looked at 11 sitting opposite Shiyu. At this moment, the change in 11's aura gave them a very unusual feeling. After Shiyu took a deep breath, he finally discovered the change. Skill, inner power. Teaching success rate, high. Teaching risk, low. Ooh? At this moment, although Shiyu was extremely weak, he was suddenly as happy as a child. He wanted to jump up and celebrate. Fortunately, his body and waist didn't allow it. Otherwise, this jump could directly destroy Xiaoyu. Sob, at this moment, 11 slowly opened its eyes. Its blue eyes were very beautiful. Coupled with its soft black and white hair, its initial form was considered the most handsome in the team. It was cute. Of course, Susu wasn't bad either. At this moment, apart from the lightning rod skill successfully reaching expert proficiency, 11 itself also sensed some changes in other aspects. With the feedback of the stronger and more powerful impregnable skill, it could clearly sense that its willpower level had a huge breakthrough. Overlord's Will. Under the many times that super skills added points to corrode the mind, under the daily self-mutilating training, and under the enhancement of the impregnable, 11, who had endured it time and time again, successfully broke through the limit with his willpower and condensed the Overlord's Will. A 3-year-old Overlord's Will. Woo! 11 sat on the ground and shouted excitedly. Name 11. Race, Iron-Eating Beast, 9 Battle Beast. Attributes, Metal, Thunder. Race level, High-Level Overlord, Quasi-Mythical. Level of growth, Monarch level. Race skill. Super level, Inner Power, Expert, Lightning Rod, Expert, Space Quake, Expert, Bin Soldier, Expert, Impregnable, Expert. Teaching skill. Super level, Undying Golden Body, Expert. Normal energy points, 8,010,000. Will level, Advanced, Overlord's Will. Woo! 11 shouted excitedly, but like Xiaoyu, it couldn't stand up. It was extremely happy. This way, when Xiaoyu added more points to itself next time, it could reduce the time. Xiaoyu could suffer less. Xiaoyu was also quite happy. This way, the pressure to upgrade 11 super skill to perfect level was much smaller. Woo 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 woo. Beside him, Buggy also cried out in excitement. It was both happy and sad. The sad thing was that the leader walked in front of it again and became the second pet in the team to have the will of an overlord. Fortunately, it was finally its turn to add points. Yee! Baby Ginseng looked at Buggy. Something was wrong. Next, it should be the one getting points. It was clearly the second place in the team competition. It was the Towering Emperor. What did it have to do with Buggy? Chapter 567, The 7 Islands Ruins Targeted by Xiaoyu, 1. Chapter 567, The 7 Islands Ruins Targeted by Xiaoyu, 1. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Woo! Yee! After adding points to 11, Buggy and Baby Ginseng started arguing about who to add points to. After all, they were tied for second place in the last team meeting. Then, it was reasonable if either one was chosen. Buggy thought that since it was the second senior to join the team, it should be the second to add points. Baby Ginseng, on the other hand, felt that Buggy didn't dare to fight it head-on in the battle. It had already lost in terms of aura. The real second place should be it. Buggy's draw was disgraceful, so Baby Ginseng should be the second to add points. Both had their reasons. Kai Tong and Susu watched from the side and didn't dare to interrupt. After all, their rankings were low and they were trembling. Woo! At this moment, 11, who was beside him, became popular. It rubbed its paw pad, its blue eyes revealing ill intentions as it looked at the blue butterfly and big white radish in front of it. Woo! You guys have another match. Whoever wins this time will add points first. Buggy and Baby Ginseng's argument stopped. To hell with that. Neither Buggy nor Baby Ginseng wanted to fight the other anymore. It was too tiring. Woo Tilda? A moment later, Buggy snorted proudly, indicating that it would give the opportunity to Baby Ginseng first. After all, no matter who it added points to, Baby Ginseng was very hardworking and had it rough. It apologized to Baby Ginseng, indicating that it shouldn't have fought. Yee? Upon hearing Buggy's words, Baby Ginseng was too embarrassed to fight for it. It also snorted, indicating that it would give Buggy more points first. Just as Shiyu and Buggy had said, it still needed to be in charge of healing Shiyu during the additional points process. It was really indispensable. After adding points to Buggy, Shiyu's physique and its source of life level could both increase. At that time, it wouldn't be too late for it to accept the additional points. Wu Tilda. I'll add it to Baby Ginseng first. Yi. Add points to Buggy first. The two pets would decide who to add points to first. A moment later, Buggy sighed. Woo. Baby Ginseng is right, then give it to me first. Baby Ginseng? 11, Kai Tong, Susu, and the other pets shook their heads. Shiyu sighed helplessly. Baby Ginseng, didn't it realize that Buggy was tricking it from the start? If he added points to Buggy, it would mainly revolve around the 3 super skills: Ultimate Absorption, Space Control, and Demon Suppression Domain. If all the points were added to expert level, it would be 12 lessons. If everything went smoothly, it would take about half a month. It was another painful process of adding points. As for its Imagination Domain and Dragon of Imagination, they were already at the expert level. It could slowly increase by playing with the Dragon Ball, so there was no hurry to increase them. 2 days later, Shiyu tried adding points to Buggy for the first time. The skill was Ultimate Absorption. The teaching process was very painful. It could be said that the medium teaching success rate and risk were definitely a lie. If not for Baby Ginseng and Susu, Shiyu and Buggy felt that they definitely wouldn't have been able to survive the additional points this time. Their teaching would have failed, causing them to waste an opportunity. Fortunately, it barely succeeded in the end. The price was that almost all the pets in the team almost died. 2 days later, Shiyu also taught Buggy the spatial control skill. Ultimate Absorption and spatial control were very important to Buggy. If 11's undying golden body converted the damage it suffered into vitality, then the ultimate absorption of Buggy was to transform the damage it caused to the enemy into vitality and energy. They were all powerful methods to ensure their endurance. Question: with the max level undying golden body and the ultimate absorption, can 11 and Buggy form a Ringji perpetual motion machine? As for spatial control, this skill could effectively increase Buggy's control and affinity with other spatial skills. In addition, exploring Mystic Realm spaces and ruined spaces was also very important. For example, some archaeologists from Bureau 11 of Donghuang actually had the ability to forcefully tear down the ruined space. They didn't have to follow the rules of the ruins and relied on skills similar to spatial control. For example, if the Overlord-level Gemcat had been the one to crack the ruins in the beginning of Pingcheng, it wouldn't have had to follow the rules at all. It would have just broken it with brute force. However, that would easily destroy the ruins, causing the ancient items inside to be destroyed and the ruined space to be damaged. They couldn't obtain the spatial ruins to recognize them, so very few archaeologists did this. Of course, if the level of the ruins was high enough, such as the Space Emperor ruins, then it was different. Because it was built by the Space Emperor, even if the Gemcat was already at the totem level, it was helpless and it couldn't be cracked violently. The beast tamers in the outside world could only listen to the arrangements of the owner of the ruins, the Void Mantis, and accept the test. For Shiyu, although he didn't like violent behavior towards ruins and was a civilized person, it was never wrong to back up a skill like spatial control for emergencies. For example, when they were trapped in the Pirate King ruins, if the Gemcat was more hardworking and had higher spatial attainments, it would directly lead them to break open the ruins violently and escape. There would be no need to fight to the death on the spot. About half a month after arriving at Wuling City, Shiyu came out of seclusion. Because the Donghuang exchange team heading to the 7 Islands had already gathered. At this moment, Shiyu's image changed drastically. He was 1.68 meters tall, had white hair, and a young, mature, old, and weak face. He looked sick. He was wearing simple casual clothes like a sick young man. Clearly, this was Shiyu's second form after the red-haired Kai Tong possessed him. Chapter 568, The 7 Islands Ruins Targeted by Shiyu, 2. Chapter 568, The 7 Islands Ruins Targeted by Shiyu, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. In this form, with the help of baby ginseng's special time fruit and the power of adding points, the medicinal effect was better than aptX 4869. Not only had his height shrunk a lot with the help of the time fruit, but his appearance had also changed. At this moment, Shiyu didn't believe that those people with ill intentions could still recognize him. Otherwise, he'd be forced to transform into an old man. In order to go abroad, Shiyu even used the memory water drop to learn a few fluent languages of the 7 islands, Rongguang, Tingxiang. Coupled with telepathy, he was invincible. Apart from that, Kai Tong, Susu, and Ling also ate the sealing fruit specially made by baby ginseng. In fact, in essence, it was still the time fruit. However, baby ginseng used Master Chu Jie's talent as a reference and researched and improved it a little. It could use the power of time to disguise Kai Tong, Susu, and Ling's energy levels at the normal monarch level of more than 1 million. Even the top index of Dong Huang couldn't detect their true energy value. Unless it was a totem-level creature proficient in the power of time, only then could it see through their true strength. But this kind of creature couldn't be found in the entire blue planet. Low profile. After all, he was going to the 7 islands to pick up resources. Although the Phoenix Mystic Realm was established by the Undying Dark Phoenix and promised to Kai Tong by the Undying Dark Phoenix, it was located on the 7 islands after all. Therefore, Shiyu was really a little nervous to go to other countries to explore mystic realms. After coming out of seclusion, Shiyu maintained his white hair form and walked around Wuling City. No one recognized him at all. After secretly observing the progress of the Iron-Eating Beast Army and the Green Silkworm Cocoon Army, he nodded silently and left Wuling City. These days, he had been paying attention to the situation of the 2 armies. Among them, the soldiers of the Iron-Eating Beast Corps were already stunned and their values shattered. Because their Iron-Eating Beast, which used to like to be lazy, had somehow become a training maniac after being trained by the Bin Bears. Every day, before dawn, the Iron-Eating Beasts had already woken up. They were even more diligent than the Beast Tamers. Beast Tamer, have you seen Emperor Wu ruins at 4 in the morning? After the Iron-Eating Beasts woke up, they pulled the Beast Tamers to train one by one, making the Green Cocoon Army next door cry. What was going on? Of course, the situation on the Green Silkworm Cocoon Army's side wasn't very good either. During the day, the soldiers needed to bring the Green Silkworm to train the worm silk, physical fitness, and various training to accumulate evolution foundation. At night, the Green Worm still had to undergo dream training in the imagination domain. It was similarly tragic. If it weren't for the fact that these 2 new armies had a lot of military expenses and were heavily supported by the country, normal resources might really not be enough to support the 2 armies' training. As for Shiyu, who had caused all of this, he hid his merits and reputation and left quietly. Shiyu didn't head to Demon Capital immediately to meet the Dong Huang exchange team that was preparing to head to the 7 Islands area. Instead, he came to the Kong capital and the Space Emperor ruins. At this moment, the Void Mantis still hadn't come out of seclusion. It looked like it couldn't successfully break through to the Overlord level. It was also possible that the Void Mantis wanted to become a perfect Overlord, which was to break through after all super-racial skills reached the perfect level, so it needed a longer time. Outside the ruins, Lu Qingyi was sitting on a rock and feeding her pets. Suddenly, a spatial ripple flickered. Lu Qingyi and her pets turned their heads and looked at the white-haired figure. Who is it? Seeing this figure, Lu Qingyi was stunned. Then, her gaze locked onto the figure's face and she was at a loss. She opened her mouth slightly, wanting to say something, but hesitated. Shiyu? It's me, Shiyu said with a smile. Lu Qingyi was very sure that Shiyu was currently in his normal state. However, she looked at Shiyu's short height, his sickly aura, and his natural white hair and was very confused. What was going on? How did he do it? If Shiyu had not arranged to meet her today in advance, she might not have been able to recognize Shiyu if they passed each other on the way. The change in the current white-haired Shiyu and the black-haired Shiyu was even greater than the change in the image of the black-haired Shiyu and the red-haired Shiyu. Are we going to the Seven Islands? President Lin, Principal Feng, and the others suggested that I change my identity. Therefore, it became like this, Shi Yu said with a shrug. Lu Qingyi was silent. The Seven Islands. Shi Yu and the others were going to the Seven Islands to explore the Phoenix Mystic Realm and the Space Emperor ruins. Lu Qingyi also knew about this. Be it the Phoenix Mystic Realm or the Space Emperor ruins that hatched the Space Beast egg, they were both on the Seven Islands. It was indeed impossible not to go on this trip. This is for you, Senior Lu. I won't stay long. I'll tell you the use, and I have to go to Demon Capital quickly. After Shi Yu arrived, he directly gave the memory water droplets condensed by Suso and the others in different bottles to Senior Lu. A moment later, Lu Qingyi looked at the few bottles of top-notch resources in her hand in surprise. This was what Shi Yu wanted to give him? It could quickly increase deterrence and other skill levels to transcendent memory water droplets in a few months. Memory water drop. Wasn't that the ability of the deceased guardian of Dong Huang? Where did Shi Yu come from? Lu Qingyi looked at Shi Yu's departing figure and clenched the resources in her hand. Although she had also given Shi Yu a spirit accumulation jade, in Lu Qingyi's opinion, this memory water drop was undoubtedly more valuable. Chapter 569, The Seven Islands Ruins Targeted by Shi Yu, 3. Chapter 569, The Seven Islands Ruins Targeted by Shi Yu, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Demon Capital. The Dong Huang exchange team this time was made up of a total of 72 people. It involved elites in many fields such as battle, feeding, archaeology, machinery, and business. Among them, the beast tamer leading the team was the tyrannical sea legend Fish. The 4th Bureau's legendary mechanic Xiao Shuang, the 11th Bureau's legendary beast tamer Kuingzong, and the 5th Bureau's legendary beast tamer Jiang Tianyang. 1 titled legend, 3 ordinary legends. Among them was the totem-level gem cat, Ying. The battle lineup could be said to be very luxurious. Even if it was to destroy the weakest totem country like the Heavenly Fox Nation next door, it was enough. If it weren't for the fact that the thousand-faced fox god of the Heavenly Fox Nation was very good at currying favor with powerful people and had devastating aesthetics, such a small country with only ordinary totems wouldn't be able to withstand the totem battle at all. Among these people, only 4 legends and the guardian Ying knew Shi Yu's true identity. Shi Yu's external identity was the genius beast tamer cultivated by President Yi of the Dong Huang Feeding Bureau. He rarely appeared. There were actually many such geniuses in Dong Huang. For example, the descendant of the divine source legend, Shenling, was a genius that had been secretly cultivated. If it weren't for the start of the sequence battle, the outside world wouldn't know about her at all. When Shi Yu arrived at Demon Capital, the Overlord-level battleship with an internal mechanical space had already docked at the shore. Not good, kid. However, just as Shi Yu arrived nearby, the gem cat locked onto Shi Yu accurately and teleported over. The reason why it could see through Shi Yu's disguise was not because its eyesight was powerful, but purely because Shi Yu had sent it a selfie. What's wrong? Shi Yu immediately said as he looked at the shocked gem cat. The gem cat cursed, Undying Dark Phoenix, it didn't lie to us. The Phoenix Mystic Realm really has a large amount of resources. Shi Yu was stunned. Back then, the Undying Dark Phoenix said that Kai Tong's transcendent level Sun Flame was the only way to unseal, cleanse, and save it. In order to nurture Kai Tong and quickly let it grow, it told Shi Yu and the others the location of the resource Mystic Realm it had established. Shi Yu and the others had been worried about whether there were any traps in this Mystic Realm. For example, could this Mystic Realm be the switch to break the seal of the Undying Dark Phoenix? Just as they opened it, the Undying Dark Phoenix on the undead battlefield would break through. If that was the case, it would be too much. Therefore, Shi Yu reported the news of the Mystic Realm. The country had made foolproof preparations, so Shi Yu and the others came to explore. This way, even if there were any changes, everyone could react. Of course, this was the worst guess. After all, according to the Undying Dark Phoenix, this Mystic Realm was purely a place for it to store resources. It was filled with treasures. It wasn't that Shiyu and the others didn't believe it completely. If they didn't believe it, they wouldn't have come to explore. What if what the Undying Dark Phoenix said was true? What if it really left a bunch of mythical and legendary resources for Kai Tong? Then they would have wronged Mother Feng. It was precisely because he had various doubts that Shiyu was stunned when the Gem Cat said that the Undying Dark Phoenix wasn't lying. How do you know? In addition, if it's true, isn't it good news? Why do you say it's bad? Well, it's both good and bad. The Gem Cat said, not long ago, our friend from the Seven Islands found concrete news. It seems like someone accidentally entered the Phoenix Mystic Realm before we decided to find it. According to the Undying Dark Phoenix's map, we can confirm that the location of the Phoenix Mystic Realm is one of the Seven Islands, Red God Island. However, after careful investigation, we discovered that 15 years ago, a beast tamer from the Seven Islands accidentally entered a mystic realm related to the Phoenix race on this island and obtained a large amount of resources from it. Because of this, she grew into a legendary beast tamer whose name shook the Seven Islands at an extremely fast speed. Holy shit, you're saying that the mystic realm she accidentally entered is the mystic realm mentioned by the Undying Dark Phoenix? Didn't the Undying Dark Phoenix say that only creatures with its bloodline power can open the mystic realm? #yuan at Shiyu also widened his eyes and cursed. How would I know? The Gem Cat muttered. However, it said that that legend is also a hybrid, and it's also a telepathy talent. Could it be a dual buff combination of a phoenix hybrid and listening to the voice of history? With the treasure gone, it would be the one who was most saddened. Don't tell me she's also an illegitimate daughter left behind by the Undying Dark Phoenix. The sister of Kai Tong and the Empress, the third sister? Or is it a bloodline left behind by the Empress? If it weren't for the situation on the Seven Islands, the Undying Dark Phoenix wouldn't have placed the Mystic Realm on the Seven Islands. In addition, during the era of the Empress dynasty, there was quite a lot of communication with the outside world, the Gem Cat imagined. Shiyu was at a loss. What was going on? Then what should we do? Fight over and let that legendary beast tamer return the resources? Shiyu said. Let's go acknowledge our relatives and let Kai Tong split the family assets. The Gem Cat was stunned. Wait, I guessed it. It might not be related. Moreover, the situation isn't that bad. Forget it, I'll take you to see Tyrannical Sea Legend and the others first. We just received the news and are in a meeting to discuss. Hurry, Shiyu said. In the battleship? In the conference room. Regarding the news that had just come from the Seven Islands, Tyrannical Sea Legend and the others indeed fell into deep thought. Chapter 570 of the Seven Islands Ruins targeted by Shiyu, 4. Chapter 570 of the Seven Islands Ruins targeted by Shiyu, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. This trip to the Seven Islands for the exchange and trading was secondary. Most importantly, it would cooperate with Shiyu to explore the Phoenix Mystic Realm and hatch the Space Emperor's inheritance egg. In the end, as they were about to set off and received such news, they had to reconsider everything. The figures of the Gem Cat and Shiyu appeared in the depths of the battleship. In the conference room, the four legends sat at the conference table. Among them, Legend Sea Tyrant and Legend Xiao Shuang were old acquaintances of Shiyu. He knew them. As for Bureau 11 Senior Kuingzong, although Shiyu had not come into contact with him much, he knew that he was an old archaeologist who studied the history of the 7 countries. He was a legendary battle power in Bureau 11. The last was a handsome young man not much older than Shiyu. He was a 4th-rank beast tamer, Jiang Qianyang, the heir of the largest financial group in Donghuang. It was said that 20 years ago, when he was very young, he took advantage of the 7 countries' exchange bonus period in the last world competition to follow his elders all over the world to see the outside world. He was also very talented in business. Senior Yu, Sister Xiao, Senior Ku, Mr. Jiang, Shiyu greeted them one by one after arriving. At this moment, when the 4 of them saw Shiyu and the Gem Cat, they immediately nodded. the tyrannical sea legend also let Shiyu take a seat and said, "You're here," tyrannical sea legend said. "Senior Ying told you, right?" "Yes." "What's the current situation?" Shiyu asked. "The situation isn't that bad." According to the subsequent news, the legendary beast tamer of the Seven Islands only accidentally entered the mystic realm. She didn't have the ability to enter the Phoenix mystic realm steadily, and she couldn't take all the resources in the mystic realm. It's said that the deeper you go in this Phoenix mystic realm, the stricter the requirements for the power of the bloodline, and the hotter the interior. Therefore, she only took away the low-level materials of the mystic realm, and the high-level materials of the mystic realm are protected by powerful flames. And when she came out and wanted to enter the mystic realm again, she couldn't find a way to enter. In that case, the core resources of the Phoenix mystic realm are still inside? Shiyu asked. Tyrannical Sea Legend said, that should be the case. However, yes, but the problem is that the Seven Islands have long known about this mystic realm more than 10 years ago. Although they didn't have the ability to crack and enter, the beast tamer who accidentally entered the Phoenix mystic realm established the Phoenix Divine Society after growing up to protect the entrance of the mystic realm. Moreover, for more than 10 years, they've been researching how to enter the Phoenix mystic realm again. Therefore, it's probably difficult for us to explore the Phoenix mystic realm secretly. This mystic realm isn't in the wild, but under the gaze of the Phoenix Divine Shrine, one of the top factions of the Seven Islands. Even if you can 100% crack the mystic realm according to the Undying Dark Phoenix, the Seven Islands probably won't watch us directly take away the core resources inside. According to the information we've obtained, there should be mythical resources at the core of the Phoenix mystic realm. Moreover, there are at least 2 legendary resources. Otherwise, that legend of the Seven Islands wouldn't be so obsessed with exploring for more than 10 years. She even cultivated many Phoenix witches because of this, hoping to enter the mystic realm with similar methods. Mythical resources. As expected. Shiyu was envious. Level 9 legendary resources were already difficult to apply for. This was a level 10 mythical resource. The Undying Dark Phoenix was indeed Mu Huiyin and the Empress's biological mother. It was indeed the top expert of the Phoenix race. As expected of a big boss who could be a top-notch totem after reincarnation. Its wealth was too rich. We can't give up, right? Shiyu said. Of course we can't give up, Tyrannical Sea Legend said. So, we're thinking if we can scam the Seven Islands. How? A bet. Jiang Qianyang, who had the aura of a noble son, smiled and said, this is very common. For example, when the Minghua exchange team came to Dong Huang, didn't you fight the Minghua beast tamer? He looked at the completely changed Shiyu and smiled. That's actually a bet. If Dong Huang wins, we can gain some advantage in the exchange and trade. And if Minghua wins, we have to open some special cultivation mystic realms unique to Dong Huang for their beast tamers. This time, we can also give it a try and use a certain bet to obtain the right to explore the Seven Island mystic realms and ruins. As long as we write it out in black and white in advance, they can't go back on their word later. We'll use other aspects to make the Seven Islands feel that they have gained an advantage. At the same time, they want the right to explore a batch of ruins and mystic realms that they can't crack. As long as there's enough gambling money, the authorities of the Seven Islands will definitely bet on those unbreakable ruins. After all, unbreakable ruins can't be considered resources, but the stuff Dong Huang can take out is clearly visible resources. Even if the Seven Islands don't know about the Phoenix Mystic Realm, we will definitely dig a similar pit first to avoid any conflict after the exploration is completed. And now, since the Seven Islands already know about the Phoenix Mystic Realm, we have to perfect our preparations in this aspect. Well, apart from everyone present, no one knows that you can 100% crack the Phoenix Mystic Realm, Legend Xiao Shuang said. You can let the Seven Islands suffer in silence. If they regret it later, that's their problem. Even the Seven Islands aren't willing to fall out with Dong Huang for a mythical resource at this moment. After hearing what the Tyrannical Sea Legend and the others said, Shiyu was instantly relieved. You guys are still the most sinister, the Gem Cat said happily, grinning. Shi Yu also took a deep breath and said, "It's not impossible." "Then how do we bet with the 7 islands in exchange for the right to explore the 7 island ruins and mystic realms?" Senior Kuingzong stroked his beard and said, "This. We can only confirm it after we reach the 7 islands and communicate with the higher-ups of their association. It's possible that they're letting their archaeologists explore our unsolved ruins mystic realm in exchange for us to crack their ruins mystic realm. This is a gamble in the archaeological field. How many resources we can obtain depends on our own abilities. It's also possible that they're betting on whose world contestant is stronger through battle communication. It's also possible that we need to take out legendary resources to gamble. Or, they might also be eyeing some of our skills, such as mechanical phantom beasts and green cocoons. In short, no matter what, the 7 Islands Association will definitely have something they want to bet on. As long as we're 100% sure that we can crack the Phoenix Mystic Realm and obtain the myths and legendary resources inside, we'll always be invincible in this bet." Shi Yu's eyes lit up. The bet of cracking the ruins is good. It's a competition of speed and number. In this aspect, I'm good at it. As long as he was given time, he could fight all the mythical ruins and legendary ruins of the 7 islands. He would definitely be able to fight a few of them. He wouldn't feel any mental pressure to fight the ruins of the 7 islands. In fact, on deeper thought, Shi Yu was really a little excited. In the past half a month, he had studied the history of the 7 islands hard because he wanted to show off his skills here. Cough, cough, cough. Everyone had strange expressions. "Calm down, you're just an ordinary white-haired beast tamer now. Don't keep thinking about causing big trouble. In short, when we reach the 7 islands, let's dig a pit for the 7 Islands Association first." He couldn't expose his identity too early. Now, Dr. Shi Yu's name had already spread throughout the 7 islands. If the 7 Islands Association knew that Shi Yu had gone over, they would probably use Shi Yu as a bet to let Shi Yu have a child on the 7 islands before leaving. It was really hard to say which was more important in the eyes of the 7 Islands Association. Back then, a legendary beast tamer from Dong Huang was tricked overseas like this. Heroes couldn't resist beauties. If they weren't wrong, Shi Yu was still single. Chapter 571, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 1. Chapter 571, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 1. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. On Dong Huang's side, they planned for big news. This caused the departure time to be delayed for half a day. During this period, it was mainly to ask President Lin. Regarding this matter, President Lin expressed screw it. If Shi Yu had that ability, it would be best to blow up a few more 7 island ruins. After hearing about this, Shi Yu fell silent. The Lin family definitely didn't like the 7 islands. The grudges probably went back to 100 years ago. President Lin was the descendant of Lin Feng legend. He had most likely heard some small story. As for why Shi Yu knew, it was because the Sea Dragon King had said it in Dragon Palace City. When he heard that the poison dragon totem was from the 7 islands, the Sea Dragon King kept cursing. He couldn't wait to drown the 7 islands immediately. It seemed like Lin Feng had conflicts with the 7 islands back then. "I should have brought the Sea Dragon King and his wife along," Shi Yu muttered in his heart. If Shi Yu remembered correctly, a member of his Dragon Palace City's Marine Environmental Protection Department had gone to the 7 islands to investigate the poison radiation a long time ago. He wondered if there were any results from the investigation. If Dragon Palace City caught wind of this, this group of Totem Dragon Kings would definitely go to the 7 islands to extort money. After all, in terms of overall strength, Dragon Palace City was definitely not inferior to the 7 islands. In addition, Dong Huang was an ally of Dragon Palace City. If evidence was really caught, the 7 islands could only admit it. After Dong Huang and Dragon Palace City formed an alliance, both parties were on the same side. It was also because of the alliance with Dragon Palace City that Dong Huang's overall national strength had always been first among the 7 countries. After all, with the mechanical legend plus Dragon Palace Dragon God, Dong Huang had 2 demigods. This was something the other 5 countries couldn't compare to. The only thing that could compare was the Shenfeng nation. They also had a mechanical legend. Moreover, this mechanical legend had successfully used creatures to modify a demigod-level mechanical divine eagle. However, between the dragon god and the divine eagle, there was no doubt at all which was stronger. The battleship heading to the 7 islands finally set off. Driving a battleship to communicate was also a unique style in this world. After all, natural disasters were extremely frequent on Blue Planet, and there were countless ferocious beasts in the sea. Even ordinary legends had to rely on transportation very much when they went abroad. After the battleship set off, Shiyu came to the deck and blew the sea breeze. In the sky, groups of transcendent sea birds flew across the sky and rode the sea breeze. On the deck, Shiyu wasn't the only one. There were also some other Dong Huang elites. It was rare for them to go abroad. The dozens of elites from various fields were either chatting and communicating in the banquet in the battleship or breathing fresh air on the deck outside. There were even some beast tamers who released their water element pets and flying pets to swim the sea and soar in the sky above the sea. With the Overlord-level battleship and so many legendary escorts, the safety of the Dong Huang exchange team was still guaranteed. Moreover, the East Sea here was also the domain of Dragon Palace City, so there was even less of a problem. But when they approached the 7 islands, they needed to pass by a few totem territories. For example, the Earth Demon Ape and the Snake Lord that Baby Ginseng had exploded. Their hometown was over there. However, during the World Tournament, most of the totem countries had already issued a joint statement that during this period, everyone had to be stable and not cause trouble, so the chances of something happening weren't high. Of course, even so, they had to be careful. After all, the resources brought by the exchange teams of the 7 countries were enough to make many overlords and totems envious. Not all totem countries would be stable. A large faction like Dragon Palace City didn't even care about the joint declaration of the 7-Nation Alliance and the Totem Alliance. After all, Dragon Palace City wasn't even interested in participating. Just as Shiyu was sitting at the edge of the battleship, a familiar voice suddenly came from afar. "Little brother, you look unfamiliar. Who are you with?" A young man in sunglasses took off his sunglasses and looked at the white-haired Shiyu curiously. Obviously, he didn't recognize Shiyu. Moreover, he was rather curious about Shiyu's hair color. It didn't look like it was infected. Was it a special disease? Looking at Shiyu's complexion, it was indeed not very healthy. Heavenly King Zhu. As for Shiyu, whose figure, height, hair color, and aura had changed because of the time fruit and the additional points, he looked at the young man in front of him and smiled in surprise. Oh, wasn't this Zhu Tianwang? Was he going to the 7 islands to find hot topics? Why wasn't he in the country anymore? Who? Seeing that this white-haired youth knew him, Zhu Yun immediately chuckled and said, "What, Heavenly King? Just call me Zhu Yun." How could anyone who could enter this exchange team be simple? As a beast tamer from the club, Zhu Yun definitely had to maximize his interpersonal skills. When the time came, it would be more convenient for him to change his style. "I'm President Yihui's student, Lu Bai. There's a mission assigned by the teacher this time. I'm going to observe the unique pets of the 7 islands." Shiyu spoke nonsense and stole the surnames of Senior Lu and Senior Bai. It had to be said that this name matched his white hair. "I see. Lu Bai, Master Yihui's student? In that case, you're a feeder?" Zhu Yun said. "Part-time. As for my main job, I'm still a beast tamer." Shiyu smiled. "I see." Zhu Yun didn't take it seriously. After all, he didn't see Lu Bai's name in the sequence ranking. Then, Shiyu and Zhu Tianwang chatted freely and obtained impressive information. Chapter 572, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 2. Chapter 572, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Zheng Hai, Jifeng, Ning Tuanming, and Tong Yang, who were in the top 10 of the sequence, were all here. Shiyu thought for a moment. It was normal. After all, the exchange between the two countries during the World Tournament would definitely not be lacking in battle exchanges. The Dong Huang exchange team definitely had to bring a batch of geniuses. Unfortunately, Heavenly King Zhu wasn't in the top 10 anymore. Once he left the country, he would definitely be looked down upon by his international friends. The journey to Dong Huang was calm. This was also normal. The number of creatures qualified to rob this ship, excluding Dragon Palace City, was less than 2. After a period of sailing, the Dong Huang exchange team was about to approach the sea area of the Seven Islands, close to one of the 7 islands, Heavenly Rainbow Island. This island was famous for being able to see beautiful rainbows in the sky all year round. It was one of the 7 major islands in the 7 Islands area. In terms of area, it was about the size of a second-level city in Dong Huang. It was much smaller than a first-level city. However, in terms of development level, the core cities of every island in the 7 islands were not what Dong Huang's second-level cities could compare to. They matched Dong Huang's first-level cities. The huge battleship gradually approached Heavenly Rainbow Island. On Heavenly Rainbow Island, they also knew that Dong Huang's exchange team was coming today. Several legends had already come to welcome them. The exchange belonged to the Tyrannical Sea Legend and the others. At the moment, Shiyu only needed to wait for the results and wait for the higher-ups to tell him what to do. After arriving at the 7 islands, the Overlord-level battleship boarded the land in the form of a base car. The members of Dong Huang's exchange team were all arranged to stay in a high-level residence called the Heavenly Rainbow Tower in Tianhong City. Shiyu also directly carried his bag and checked in. The gem cat that followed him checked that the room was fine and yawned. "Why did you come with me?" Shiyu ate the sweet fruit and spoke unclearly. "To protect you." The gem cat said, "Stop eating, hurry up." "What's so good about fruits?" "I'm still waiting to eat the raw fish slices from the banquet. I wonder how it's compared to the big meal in Dragon Palace City." Shiyu? Arrogant. It actually said that the fruits planted by baby ginseng weren't delicious. It wasn't like it wouldn't keep asking for gem fruits in the future. "I thought you wanted to take the time to take a look at the Space Emperor ruins first." Shiyu curled his lips. The Space Emperor established a total of 4 Star Prayer ruins to mobilize the power of the stars as nutrition to hatch the Space Beast egg. And the Star Wilderness Island in the 7 Islands area had one of the 4 ruins. Therefore, apart from going to the Red God Island to take a look at the Phoenix Mystic Realm, they also had to go to Star Wilderness Island to find the Space Emperor ruins. They were also busy enough. let's go, Shiyu said. "I want to eat that kind of food that can burst my clothes. I wonder if there's any." The gem cat? What the F*CK was that? It's similar to those glowing dishes. As a disguiser, Shiyu did not exchange feeding experience with his friends from the 7 islands. His destination was clear. Like the gem cat, he was already here. He would eat more special food first. On the other side, the legendary beast tamer of Dong Huang, led by the Tyrannical Sea Legend, also met the higher-ups of the 7 Islands Association. On the 7 Islands, the one in charge of welcoming the Dong Huang exchange team was the titled Legend of the 7 Islands, General Tianxi, known as the Legend of the Warring States. This title came from this beast tamer. He had once destroyed a small totem country that threatened the 7 Islands, by himself. From the 7 Islands, 2 legends also arrived. They were the legendary mechanic Orange Qianyao, who had studied and communicated with Dong Huang, and the legendary beast tamer Suzujin of the Suzuki Financial Group, the largest financial group of the 7 Islands. Dong Huang and the 7 Islands started a discussion for hours about the exchange between the 2 countries. Just as some rules were confirmed, Shiyu had also finished his meal and was lying in his room. "They're calling you to the meeting." Beside him, a cat was also in charge of passing the message. These words surprised Shiyu. "The discussion results are out. I wonder when I can show off." Cat, instant transmission. "I can't use Buggy now." The gem cat? Did he not have legs? Couldn't it walk after not having instant transmission? Hurry up and climb, the gem cat cursed. At the same time, in the lounge of the 4 legends of Dong Huang, the 4 legends were sitting together and discussing the exchange just now. At this moment, a figure flashed over, making the 4 of them look up together. How's the situation? Shi Yu asked them after arriving in a daze. Tyrannical Sea Legend and the others nodded and said, it's pretty smooth, but for both parties, it's a bet. What do you mean? Shi Yu also sat down. Tyrannical Sea Legend said, in the 7 islands, the one they're most concerned about is still Dong Huang's mechanical phantom beast system. However, Dong Huang definitely won't let go in this aspect. Apart from that, what they're most concerned about are the various mystic realms, ruins, and rich resources in the Dong Huang area. This was very normal. After all, the area of the 7 islands was much smaller than Dong Huang, and their history was even shorter. Therefore, places like ruins and mystic realms were far fewer than Dong Huang. And places like ruins and mystic realms happened to be the treasure land that produced the most resources and inheritances. It would be strange if the 7 islands weren't envious. Therefore, there was no need for Dong Huang to take the initiative to mention it. The 7 islands, like Minghua, had their eyes on Dong Huang's ruins and mystic realms. Dong Huang only followed the thoughts of the 7 islands and easily drafted the communication rules they wanted. Chapter 573, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 3. Chapter 573, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Let's not talk about the changes in the other business exchanges first. The most important thing this time is the bet between the ruins and mystic realms. How do we bet? Shi Yu asked. Of course it's the most direct battle, Tyrannical Sea Legend said. Just like the exchange between Dong Huang and Minghua that you participated in back then, using the battle results to determine the authority of both parties. This time, the 7 islands will open their champion path to contestants under the age of 30 who are below the level of beast tamers and overlords. How many ruins and mystic realm resources we can use, explore, and obtain this time will depend on the outcome of the challenge on the path of the champion. The path to champion. What's that? Shi Yu asked in confusion. When he studied the history of the 7 islands, there was no such thing. A new place for the 7 Islands Association to choose legends. Legend Xiao Shuang said, there are a total of 10 stages on the path to champion. The first 9 stages will be guarded by 9 powerful top-notch masters. The 10th stage will be guarded by an overlord-level pet. The challenge rules are 1 vs 1. The challenger can change pets after every level. If the challenger can pass 10 levels in 10 hours, it's successful, and the 7 Islands Association will reward a legendary resource to the local contestants who can complete the challenge. It's similar to our sequence battle. It's the venue of the selection legend established by the 7 islands to support them under the age of 30. This, Shi Yu was immediately shocked. If we pass, will they also reward us with legendary resources? The legends, dream on. How was that possible? In the territory of the 7 islands, there are no beast tamers who have successfully passed the road of champions. This challenge is undoubtedly very difficult. The highest battle result of their contestants is only passing the 8th level. It's not easy for us to challenge results on this road of champions. The contestant who passed the 8th level is known as the number 1 master of the new generation of the 7 islands. He's quite extraordinary. Of course, we don't have to worry too much. In terms of the strength of young geniuses, Dong Huang has always been one of the best. And the 7 islands are about the same as Minghua. It means that the better the results our contestants can achieve, the more mystic realms and ruins the 7 islands can open to us. On the other hand, if our results don't reach the standard of the bet agreement, our Dong Huang will open some Dong Huang mystic realms and ruins to them, Senior Ku said. The 7 islands will open their special cultivation mystic realms and ruins of different levels to the contestants who break through the 5th, 6th, and 7th levels. Among them, as long as contestant Dong Huang successfully breaks through the 8th level, the 7 islands will open their unsolved mystic realms and ruins to Dong Huang. We can try to crack them. Then, the two parties will split the gains according to 4, 6, for us and 6 for them. If we successfully pass the 9th level, we can crack the unsolved ruins and mystic realms of the 7 islands ourselves within the specified time. The gains will all belong to Dong Huang. The more people pass, the longer we can explore. And as long as contestant Dong Huang successfully breaks through 10 levels, the 7 islands will open one of their completely cracked mythical ruins for contestant Dong Huang to cultivate for 7 days. Although its value is inferior to legendary resources, it's not bad. Apart from that, Dong Huang will also obtain the initiative in this business activity. It can use one of our legendary resources to exchange for one of their legendary resources unconditionally. The choice is in our hands. This was equivalent to using Dong Huang's useless legendary resources to exchange for the other party's rare legendary resources. After Senior Kuingzong finished speaking, Shiyu took a deep breath. Good Lord! It was indeed a huge bet. As long as he passed the 9th level of the championship path, the 7 Island Ruins Mystic Realm would be freely explored by Dong Huang, and all the benefits would belong to Dong Huang. Wouldn't this be like sending a sheep into the tiger's mouth? Of course, from the perspective of the 7 Islands Association, perhaps this was nothing. After all, the premise for all the gains to belong to Dong Huang was that Dong Huang cracked the ruins, and which of the 7 islands' unsolved ruins and mystic realms had not been attempted after researching for dozens or hundreds of years. Even if Dong Huang studied it, they might not necessarily gain anything. Instead, there was a high chance that it would be all for nothing. At the same time, although Senior Ku didn't say what Dong Huang needed to pay for not passing the 9th level, it seemed that Dong Huang also had to pay a certain price, but it wasn't as big as the 7 islands. The difficulty of passing the championship is indeed high. Unless it's legendary battle power, the difficulty of defeating an overlord-level pet in a one-on-one situation is terrifyingly high. However, it's only the 9th level. It shouldn't be a big problem for Jifeng, Tong Yang, and the others, who have the experience of killing overlords head-on and poisoning them. In short, our contestants just have to pass 9 levels. They have the right to explore the 7 islands and obtain all the benefits. Senior Kuingzong was filled with anticipation. That kid Jifeng should be able to do it. Unfortunately, your disciple Zhenghai's beast taming level hasn't reached the standard, so he can't challenge it. Sigh, if only Qingyi were here. This challenge definitely won't be a problem. The 10th level might be very difficult, but the 9th level can definitely be achieved. The 7 islands gave 5 challenge spots. Jifeng, Zhu Yun, Tong Yang, and Ning Chenming are still lacking 1. Why don't I go to Dong Huang to fetch Lu Qingyi? Legend Sea Tyrant said. If I'm in a hurry, I should be back tomorrow. I can make it. Chapter 574 Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 4. Chapter 574 Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Ah. Shiyu looked at the 4 legends and said, have you forgotten something? Don't you still have me? From the sound of it, 9 levels shouldn't be difficult. We can also give the 10th level a try. Shiyu's words attracted the attention of the 4 legends present. They were silent. Jiang Tianyang looked at Shiyu strangely. But now, he wasn't Shiyu, he was Lu Bai. Shiyu, the number 1 person below the legendary level of Dong Huang. Not to mention 9 levels, there might even be hope for 10 levels, but the problem was that if Shiyu came to challenge, wouldn't his disguise be pointless? Unless you recover to Shiyu and challenge it with your iron-eating beast. The corners of Tyrannical Sea Legend's mouth twitched. Shiyu chuckled and said, that's not necessary. My other pets are also very strong. With that said, a purple summoning array condensed in front of him, and cold air surged. An ice slime with a frost crown and a frozen body appeared in front of everyone. Ning! At the same time, an illusion condensed in the air, and a blue bird spirit flickering with ghost flames landed on the crown. Ju! There's no need to rely on 11. Every one of my pets has quasi-overlord battle power at this moment. The two of them are enough to challenge the champion path. Moreover, look at their images. The bird spirit covered in blue flames was completely different from the sword spirit Kai Tong with pure energy. The monarch race, the mainstream elemental pet of the Seven Islands, the Ice Slime King, was also a world-shaking change from the previous transcendent race, the Water Slime. Seeing Shiyu's two pets, the expressions of the four legends changed in shock. What was going on? For a moment, they couldn't react. But soon, Senior Ku said, this bird spirit, could it be? Was it Senior Mu Huain's heroic spirit? Why did it become like this? After a moment of silence, the tyrannical sea legend said, why has it become like this too? Evolution? He was referring to the reincarnation of the blue sea sprite. Why did it go from the water slime of a transcendent race to the ice slime king of a monarch race? If ordinary slimes were low-level creatures among elemental creatures, then the Slime King was a top-notch elemental pet. In the world, many beast tamers contracted the Slime King. This was a relatively powerful monarch battle pet. It was completely different from slimes. However, until now, no one had found a way to let the slime evolve into the Slime King. The Slime King could only be born naturally. However, even if water and ice were the same, evolving from a water slime to the ice slime king in an instant was too big a leap. It just borrowed the power of legendary resources. Moreover, it doesn't have a specific race now. Even if it transforms into a human form, dragon form, and phoenix form, it can still do it. Even the top index can't explore its essence, Shiyu said. Moreover, ever since Susu learned Infinite Devour and evolved many times, it was no longer a water slime. Shiyu couldn't be bothered to think of a new race name. He directly called it Blue Sea Sprite Reincarnation. It saved him trouble. Let Jifeng, Zuyun, and the others come first. If they can't defeat it, I'll go on stage. Or I can go up and scout first before letting them go up. Now, Kai Tong and Susu's strength was no longer as miserable as in the team competition. Their current strength was already stronger than the champion at that time, 11. After all, they had undergone more systematic training and used a large amount of resources. Shiyu felt that it wouldn't be weaker than Jifeng, Senior Lu, and the others' trump cards, or they might even be stronger. You plan to only let the two of them challenge the champion path? Tyrannical Sea Legend said. Yes. The next day, Jifeng, Ning Tuanming, Tong Yang, Zuyun, Shiyu, and the others were summoned by the Tyrannical Sea Legend and the others. The path to champion? Upon hearing this news, Jifeng and the others fell silent. As Legend Xiao Shuang explained the specific bet agreement between the two countries, Jifeng and the others were stunned. In other words, who had the initiative in this exchange? Depended on the performance of sequence contestants like them during the challenge of the champion path. We have a total of 5 spots. After confirmation, the 5 of you will challenge it. Is there anyone who doesn't want to participate? Legend Xiao Shuang asked. Jifeng, Ning Tuanming, Tong Yang, and Zuyun naturally had no objections. Before they came to the exchange team, they were already prepared to fight the 7 island beast tamers. It could be said that if it weren't for the sake of fighting, they wouldn't have come to the 7 islands at all. However, the 4 of them looked at the 5th person among them and the white-haired youth who was coughing with his hand covering his mouth. They immediately fell into deep thought. What was this? Why did they bring a patient? Such a guy was so weak that he could fall to the ground in the next moment. Could he really fight? Are they sure they're not here to scam the 7 islands? Little brother Lu Bai, Zuyun was puzzled. What was going on? As even its size had changed, these guys who had seen Shiyu before didn't recognize him. This made Shiyu sigh. As expected of himself. Not to mention them, even the gem cat totem couldn't recognize him at the start. Edgar Conan, learn from me. It's not enough to just shrink. I suggest changing your hair color and hairstyle and even the face. A weak face. His Lu Bai, President Yi Hui's student. He's been recuperating because of his poor health, but there's no problem with his battle skills. In terms of strength, he's not inferior to you. Although he looks like this, he's already in his 20s. He's an older top-notch master. Chapter 575, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 5. Chapter 575, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 5. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Cough, cough, hello. Shiyu greeted the four of them again, making them unable to calm down for a long time. Hello, they could only reply like this. At the same time, on the Seven Islands Association side, they also began to mobilize the candidates for the champion path. They even wanted to replace some of the existing guardians. After all, how many levels Dong Huang could pass concerned a large amount of resources. Neither party was willing to suffer a loss, so they naturally had to create some difficulty for Dong Huang in this aspect. Both parties were preparing for this championship challenge. As for Shiyu, he had also plunged into the ruined space and decided to strengthen Susu at the last minute to stabilize it. There was a reason why Shiyu said that Kai Tong and Susu were already stronger than 11 in the National League. First was Kai Tong. After the National League, not only did it learn many new sinister skills like Scapegoat, but after devouring the Gemini Silver Armor and the Death Spirit Treasure Bead, the proficiency of the Interlocking Sword and Spirit Release even reached Expert +5, making its normal energy level reach more than 6 million. It directly made Kai Tong become a pet that didn't need any super skills in Shiyu's team. Apart from Sun Flame, who had yet to reach expert level, the remaining two super skills were both expert level, and they occupied the highest proficiency in the team. As for Susu, the reason why it was at the bottom of the team competition was purely because it joined the team too late. Although the skill level had been increased back then, there wasn't enough time for Susu to train these skills into combination profundities. In essence, low-level skills were far from super skills. Even high-level skills with Dao proficiency were far inferior to a perfect-level super skill. However, it wasn't that pets didn't have the ability to fight above their level. They relied on combination skills and profundities. For example, Kai Tong's Myriad Sword Convergence was a very good combination profundity. As for Susu, it had also developed a few under Shiyu's suggestion recently. Its battle power had increased greatly. At the same time, it was also the only pet in the team that could store the Power of Time fruit in its power and transform it at any time. It was all thanks to the infinite Devour space. Moreover, it had also obtained its second attribute. In addition, Shiyu planned to teach the Ice and Time skill Heavenly Frost Cold Energy to Susu in advance and let it deal with the path to champion. That was even less of a problem. A time element super skill, even if it was entry-level, was incomparably powerful. It could be seen from the time mark. Susu. In the ruined space, the white-haired Shiyu hugged Susu and started to add points. Susu had the will of an overlord, so it was relatively easy to add points. Nink. A moment later, Susu opened its ice-blue eyes, and its entire body was filled with a cold aura that could freeze time. Name Susu. Race, Blue Sea Sprite Reincarnation. Attributes, Water, Ice. Race level, Mid-level Overlord. Level of growth, Monarch level. Race skill. Super level, Holy Water Ring, Proficient, Water Element Control, Expert, Wave Cannon, Proficient. Teaching skill. Super level, Infinite Devour, Expert, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy, Initiate. Normal energy points, 5,890,000. To put it bluntly, the Heavenly Frost Cold Energy was a special ice element power that could transform its ice element power into a special ice element power that could freeze time. Its nature was similar to skills like White Thunder. At this moment, it seemed to be entry-level, but if it was combined with skills like max-level Blizzard, the power was incomparable. The next day. Seven Islands Region, Heavenly Rainbow Island, Crown Rainbow Mountain Range. A skyship slowly flew over. On the hull, a large number of beast tamers from Dong Huang and the Seven Islands gathered. On Dong Huang's side, apart from the 5 challengers, the 4 legends were all present. There were also Zheng Hai and the other Dong Huang elites. Some of the more free people came to watch the challenge first. On the 7 islands, the 3 legends who were in charge of communicating with the Dong Huang exchange team yesterday were also present. Apart from that, there were also a large number of top-notch masters from the 7 islands, at least 20. They were all guardians of the championship path. Among them, there were relatively young and older ones. There were about half and half of them. Shiyu stood among the Dong Huang contestants and looked over from time to time. He saw a lean old man in a ninja suit with messy silver hair, a beautiful witch in a red and white witch dress, and a big sister in a yin-yang master dress. Every beast tamer had a rather powerful aura, making contestant Dong Huang discuss among themselves. Shiyu was relatively calm. For example, the uneasy Heavenly King Zhu had long grasped the hot topic. He held his cell phone and ran to various places to chat. "Old master, are you a ninja? Can we take a photo together? Kid, you're the challenger for this championship path?" The old man glanced at Zhu Yun. "A challenge is a challenge, but let's take a photo as a memento first." Heavenly King Zhu chuckled and spoke fluently in the 7 islands language. Whether it was a selfie or the photo of him confidently defeating every beast tamer on the 7 islands, it would be on the trending list. A good opportunity couldn't be missed. The humiliation of being kicked out of the top 10 of the sequence by Shiyu had to be vented on the 7 island beast tamers these few days. It was fine if it was this old ninja, but he didn't believe that the netizens didn't like that beautiful witch. As long as he beat them, there would definitely be a lot of likes. "I'm not doing it." The old ninja rejected Zhu Qianwang. If he didn't like this kind of machine, Zhu Qianwang could only look for a young lady, but he was also rejected coldly. Chapter 576, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 6. Chapter 576, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 6. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. "Please have some self-respect," the witch from the unknown shrine said coldly and seriously, giving Heavenly King Zhu the cold shoulder. "This Zhu Yun." Seeing that Zhu Yun was so unreliable, the female poison Dr. Tong Yang from Division 13 immediately sighed. She hoped that Zhu Yun wouldn't screw up on the path champion later. Otherwise, don't blame her for putting laxatives in Zhu Yun's food. Tong Yang then arrived beside the weak Shiyu. Shiyu was really weak. After all, he had just taught the Heavenly Frost Cold Energy not long ago. Seeing Shiyu's expression, Tong Yang from the Medical Bureau was slightly stunned. He walked to Shiyu's side and said, "Are you all right? Do you need me to take a look?" "Thank you." Shiyu looked at the other party and said weakly, "It's all right, I'm already used to it. It looks pretty serious, but it's actually fine." Now, it was still not a problem to crush a commander rank with a punch. The physiques of those legendary beast tamers might not necessarily be better than his. "Really?" Tong Yang said suspiciously. Soon, as the sky ship went deeper, the tyrannical sea legend, Yu Hui, and the warring state legend, Tian Jiangji, had already announced the beginning of the path to champion. It officially began. The entrance to the path to champion is ahead. Our first guardian is already waiting below. Next, choose your challenger. Charge all the way through. The legend of the warring states touched his white goatee and said to the tyrannical sea legend with a smile. 2 titled legends sat on the top of the sky ship. The other legend sat on the lower level and looked down from high above. With the vision of legendary beast tamers, it was easy for them to see the environment and battles in the Crown Rainbow Mountain range below. The entire sky ship was like a huge audience seat. Many beast tamers from Dong Huang and the 7 islands would watch the entire competition. The challenge process would last for a total of 5 days. There were 5 contestants in Dong Huang, so it was 1 contestant a day. The reason why it took so long was to give the challenger sufficient time to rest during the challenge. After all, using the strengthening talent to fight was quite draining. They couldn't challenge 10 strong enemies in a row without giving them time to rest. "All right." Tyrannical Sea Legend nodded and looked at the white-haired youth of contestant Dong Huang. Shiyu suggested that he be the last or first to appear. The reason was very simple. In the remaining 3 to 4 days, Shiyu didn't want to be an audience here. He wanted to take the opportunity to look for the Space Emperor ruins. Tyrannical Sea Legend thought for a moment. Since Shiyu planned to only use 2 pets and didn't plan to use trump cards like the Iron-Eating Beast and Baby Ginseng, theoretically speaking, Shiyu's strength definitely couldn't be completely displayed. In that case, everyone decided to let Shiyu be the first to go on stage, to test the waters for Ji-Feng and the others. Of course, it would be best if Shiyu could pass 9 levels in one go. They still believed in Shiyu's strength. After all, that was Mu Huain's heroic spirit and the Blue Sea Sprite reincarnation. Moreover, Shiyu had corresponding legendary resources. The only pity was that only 2 of his pets could fight with different images for the disguise. In terms of switching between just these 2, Shiyu would definitely be at a disadvantage. He was inferior to Ji-Feng and the others. The individual styles of the Iron-Eating Beast, the Butterfly of Imagination, and Baby Ginseng were still too obvious. Lu Bai, the Tyrannical Sea Legend, said in a low voice. On the sky ship, Shiyu nodded and jumped down from the sky ship under the surprised gazes of Ji-Feng, Zheng Hai, and Zhu Yun. Who? Everyone was attracted by Shiyu, who leaped down and looked down. Shiyu's fall was not that fast. His body appeared extremely light. During the descent, a huge purple summoning array appeared, and extremely cold ice elemental power condensed. Who? As Shiyu landed lightly, a human-shaped elemental sprite made of pure ice elements appeared beside him. The elemental sprite was about the same height as Shiyu. Its entire body was ice blue, and cold air filled the air. The ice and snow outlined its humanoid form, but its body and facial features were still ice elements. From its appearance under the frost, it seemed to be a little like a pure and flawless holy maiden. Its long ice-blue hair fluttered, and it held a holy sword made of frost. It condensed beside Shiyu like a guardian. As Shiyu took a step forward, the ice elemental sprite also floated forward. On Dong Huang's side, they sent Shiyu as the beast tamer who challenged the path to champion today. After Shiyu appeared, the expressions of the legends on the 7 islands and the other beast tamers instantly froze. This was because among the 5 beast tamers of Dong Huang today, the only ones they were familiar with were Zhu Yun and Ning Tuanming. As for Ji-Feng, who had been a spy overseas for many years, or Tong Yang, who rarely appeared or even fought publicly in Division 13, or Shiyu, who was Lu Bai, there was not much information about them on the 7 islands. Especially Shiyu. Although there was little information about Ji-Feng and Tong Yang, they were at least on the list of Dong Huang's sequence. However, this Lu Bai had purely appeared out of nowhere. The 7 islands didn't know which secret weapon Dong Huang had cultivated. Ice elemental creature. Sensing the cold aura of the ice elemental creature around Shiyu, many beast tamers on the 7 islands were also slightly stunned. At the same time, many people took out indexes and tested the creature. However, to their surprise, the index of the 7 islands actually couldn't detect what this creature's own race was. Chapter 577, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 7. Chapter 577, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy That Froze Time, 7. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. What kind of pet is this? At the moment, the beast tamers of the 7 islands could only determine that this was an ice element elemental creature. Also, energy points, 1,190,000. This extremely ordinary basic energy value also made the beast tamers of the 7 islands silent. In addition, Shiyu's sickly and weak white hair made the beast tamers of the 7 islands wonder if this person could do it. What did Dong Huang mean? 100 God, what do you think? In the 7 island audience seats, a young and beautiful woman in a JK uniform sat beside a brown-haired young man and asked. I can't tell, but this energy is definitely not real. The brown-haired young man's expression was calm. Then judge if the number of levels he can clear can surpass yours. The girl smiled. The 1000 River 100 God was known as the #1 master of the new generation of the 7 islands. In other words, among the non-legendary beast tamers under the age of 30, the strongest person was the current best battle record holder on the champion path. He passed a total of 8 levels, and unfortunately lost at 9th. He had heard that the beast tamer of the Dong Huang exchange team, the contestants of the Dong Huang World Tournament, had come to challenge the path. He then took the initiative to be the guardian of the champion path. "No, because I'll guard the 8th level," 100 God said. Below, Shi Yu walked step by step. The scenery of the Crown Rainbow mountain range was very special. In the sky, there was a clear sky rainbow. It was said that as they went deeper into the island, there were also various natural wonders. There were volcanoes, snow peaks, waterfalls, and forests. It was a miracle mountain carved by nature. At the moment, the place where Shi Yu descended was a mountain path made of rocks and ordinary vegetation. He had only taken a few steps when a figure appeared. This was also a young man. However, the other party was wearing floral pants and a black leather jacket. Such a strange combination of clothes immediately stunned Shi Yu. In addition, the other party's fashionable pink mohawk made Shi Yu suspect where this bad young man came from. "Yo, you're the challenger of Dong Huang this time?" At the same time that he spoke in a ruffian manner, the surrounding purple summoning array appeared. A huge dog-type creature more than 2 meters tall, completely black, and with hair like swaying black flames appeared beside him. Apart from its bright red eyes, this dog-type creature's tail was the most strange. It was like a black fire tornado that wrapped around its body, and its tail was even longer than its main body. Name: Hellfire Hound. Attributes: Fire. Race level: Low level Overlord. Level of growth: Monarch level. Energy points: 4.3 million. Roar. After the Hellfire Divine Hound appeared, black flames swayed around its body. It immediately formed a confrontation with the ice elemental life form in front of it. Its blood eyes were rather unfriendly, and heat waves surged. His name is Quan Zhongye, the heir of the largest gang on the 7 islands. His fire element strengthening talent has been trained very well. In addition to the Hellfire Hound's own explosive skill, his strength can reach the level of a top-notch monarch. A top-notch monarch! This was a name that was given to those that exceeded 10 million energy points. On the sky ship, be it the Legends of the Warring States or the Legends of the 7 Islands, they were introducing the information about Quan Zhongye to their friends beside them. Quan Zhongye wasn't strong, but it wasn't weak either. Among the beast tamers under the age of 30 on the 7 Islands, its strength was enough to rank in the top 10. If they wanted to defeat him, Dong Huang's contestants definitely had to pay a price. The reason why he introduced it to Dong Huang now was that the 7 Islands also wanted to hear some information about this contestant from Dong Huang. He had already taken the initiative to chat with him, so it was a little inappropriate for him not to reveal his contestant's information, right? At the moment, the beast tamers of the 7 Islands and Dong Huang were all paying attention to Quan Zhongye and Shi Yu. Even Dong Huang's own people, apart from a few legends, no one else knew where Shi Yu's transformation into Lu Bai came from. This dog looks like it's not easy to deal with. Zhu Yunwang was stunned. He suspected that the 7 Islands were targeting him. The first level was holding such an opponent. If the difficulty of the later 9 levels was not much different from the first level, that would still be alright. If the opponent's strength had always been increasing, then it would be more and more difficult to fight towards the end. After all, the physical fitness of a beast tamer was limited. Even if there were supplements to replenish it, how much could it replenish with their time limit? Not everyone could absorb supplements easily. That's all? Ji Feng's expression didn't change. His goal, the mission given to him by the tyrannical sea legend, was to pass 10 levels as much as possible. At the very least, he had to pass 9 levels. The difficulty of this first level was indeed not much for him. However, Ji Feng didn't know how this Lu Bai was. At this moment, as the battle was about to begin, the legends of Dong Huang were silent for a moment before slowly speaking. Lu Bai, he's good at training pets. Eh? The 7 Island legends had yet to react. Below, Susu, who was beside Shiyu, was already muttering as it looked at its opponent. Boom! All the ice element power in its body erupted, and a terrifying energy wave formed a snowstorm. On the other side, Quan Zhongye and the Hellfire Hound gritted their teeth and were about to fight when something unexpected happened. Almost instantly, Susu, who had broken the time seal, had its energy level increased to nearly 6 million. If that was all, it would be fine. The most terrifying thing was that Susu was using the combination skill of Dao Proficiency Blizzard and Heavenly Frost Cold Energy. The moment Susu activated the max-level snowstorm, the natural environment here was completely changed in the blink of an eye. Cold air filled the sky and froze the mountain path. If that was the case, an ordinary weather skill couldn't affect Quan Zhongye and the Hellfire Hound at all. However, the difficulty was that the current Susu had already mastered the special ice element power, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy. Its current ice element power already had a weak time freeze nature. It was as if space and time had frozen. The moment the weather was changed by the max-level snowstorm, the expressions of Quan Zhongye and the Hellfire Hound froze. There was even no time for Quan Zhongye and the Hellfire Hound to activate their talent and erupt. In the blink of an eye, the ice elemental power condensed. Quan Zhongye and Hellfire Hound, who couldn't react to the combination skill of Blizzard and Heavenly Frost Cold Energy, directly turned into ice sculptures under Shiyu and Susu's gaze. The ground was already covered in ice shards. After taking a look at his opponent, Shiyu calmly walked forward. Susu followed beside him and brushed past his opponent in the first round. The first level was done in an instant. Instant kill. Even Quan Zhongye and the Hellfire Hound themselves didn't know why they didn't have time to resist the enemy's snowstorm at all. In the eyes of the beast tamers in the outside world, it was also very ridiculous. The beast tamers of the 7 islands opened their mouths wide. They didn't understand why Quan Zhongye and the Hellfire Hound couldn't handle a snowstorm. Even if the activation speed of that snowstorm was very fast and their proficiency had probably reached transcendent, they shouldn't be completely unresponsive. Jifeng, Zhu Yun, and the others were also shocked and confused. At this moment, looking at the frozen Quan Zhongye and the Hellfire Hound, as well as Shiyu and the ice elemental life form that passed them and continued to walk towards the second level, the beast tamers of the 7 islands were collectively silent. Even the 7 island legends revealed extremely serious and shocked expressions. Their expressions kept changing as they recalled the scene just now. Soon, the Warring States legend took a deep breath and said in disbelief, "That snowstorm just now." The beast tamers of the 7 islands looked at him. It froze time. Finally, the legend of the Warring States made a judgment, making the expressions of the 7 island beast tamers change. This was an extremely rare transcendent life form that controlled the power of time. Chapter 578, Sweeping Through the Beast Tamers of the 7 Islands, 1. Chapter 578, Sweeping Through the Beast Tamers of the 7 Islands, 1. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Dong Huang's challenger instantly killed a genius ranked in the top 10 of the new generation of beast tamers on the 7 islands. Looking at the cold ice sculpture, the faces of the 7 island beast tamers also froze. Their expressions froze. Even Jifeng and the other beast tamers of Dong Huang were suddenly shocked when they heard the judgment of the legend of the Warring States. Everyone looked at Shiyu, who was walking deeper into the Crown Rainbow Mountain range. Just now, the energy wave of that ice element pet increased to nearly 6 million. An ice element skill that freezes time? What race is this? Don't tell me, it's time. Putting a top-notch master with vigorous physical fitness and good strength like Quan Zhongye in the first level, the beast tamers of the 7 islands could tell that the difficulty of the champion path this time had increased more than a little. When they challenged back then, the first guardian wasn't that strong. For example, this Quan Zhongye had also challenged the path of the champion and even reached the 6th level. Who would believe that he was only strong enough to be stationed as the first guardian? However, just as the beast tamers of the 7 islands thought that even if the friends from Dong Huang could pass a few levels this time it would be difficult. This happened. Perhaps it was carelessness, or perhaps it was underestimating the enemy. No matter what, Quan Zhongye didn't even have the chance to react before it was insta-killed by the opponent and the Beast Tamer. This outcome undoubtedly made the hearts of the Beast Tamers of the Seven Islands heavy. It also made the hearts of the legends of the Seven Islands and the legend of the warring states who organized this exchange heavy. This time, the plan of the Seven Islands was to control Dong Huang's level before the 8th level. It definitely couldn't exceed the 9th level. If Dong Huang broke through the 5th, 6th, and 7th levels, the Seven Islands would open some cultivation mystic realms to the contestants who cleared it. This was nothing. After all, they couldn't let Dong Huang return empty-handed. Even if they opened it, it wouldn't affect the Seven Islands too much. As for contestant Dong Huang breaking through the 8th level, the Seven Islands needed to publicize the ruins mystic realm that they had not successfully cracked for Dong Huang to explore. Then, the benefits would be divided 60 to 40. Dong Huang would take 40 and the islands 60. The Seven Islands could accept this. In any case, they couldn't crack it themselves. If they let Dong Huang help crack it, they could still get more than half the benefits. With the World Tournament imminent and the urgent lack of resources, it was still a good deal. And if Dong Huang broke through the 9th level, the price would not be something the Seven Islands could bear. Not only did they have to publicize the Unsolved Ruins Mystic Realm to Dong Huang, but if Dong Huang successfully cracked it, the benefits would all belong to Dong Huang. It would be fine if Dong Huang didn't crack it successfully. Dong Huang would have passed the 9th level for nothing. But if Dong Huang really gained something, the Seven Islands would cry. However, at the same time, as a bet, if Dong Huang didn't pass the 9th level, Dong Huang would have to spend a lot in this transaction between the two countries. It would have to sell many Dong Huang resources to the Seven Islands at a low price. At the same time, when the Seven Islands exchange team headed to Dong Huang also needed to open a certain number of ruins and mystic realms. This outcome was something the Seven Islands were happy to see. The 10th level also had a bet that could not be won. However, the bet was not as big as the 9th level. Dong Huang also knew that the 10th level was not easy to break through. Therefore, the result that the Seven Islands wanted to see the most was that contestant Dong Huang could not break through the 9th level and falling in the 9th level. Therefore, from the 1st level, the Seven Islands had arranged 7 powerful elites at different levels on the road to champion. Quan Zhongye was originally a good candidate, but the higher-ups of the Seven Islands didn't expect this guy to be so weak. He was actually insta-killed in one move. Time element skill, of course. The Seven Island legends with serious expressions also knew that this didn't seem to be all Quan Zhongye's fault. Time element. It had always been the most mysterious attribute. Even spatial attributes couldn't compare. Today, be it the 7 countries or the totem countries, when talking about Dong Huang, the legendary figure they thought of the most was definitely Emperor Shi. Even if the subsequent legends had similarly ended the totem war, as the first emperor of Dong Huang, as the most unpredictable time element emperor in history, Emperor Shi's reputation on the entire blue planet was unshakable. Apart from the fact that he was the first legendary beast tamer to end the totem era, it was also because he was the beast tamer on Blue Planet who had cultivated his time-strengthening talent to the highest level. Be it time element skills or time element pets, they were all extremely rare. Even if the entire country was mobilized, it was very difficult to nurture outstanding time element species. A time element pet of a monarch race was even harder to find than a spatial pet of an overlord race, let alone other types. Therefore, at this moment, seeing that Shi Yu's pet had mastered a time skill that could freeze time, how could these 7 island beast tamers not be shocked? Although Susu's Heavenly Frost cold energy was only entry-level, the power it displayed just now was definitely not as simple as entry-level super skills. The powerful thing about this special energy skill was that it could perfectly integrate other whiteboard skills of the same element and inherit the proficiency of other skills. If 11 learned White Thunder in the future, it would be the same. It could also display stronger power through skills like Thunder Palm. Holy shit, this guy! On the Beast Tamer's side, Heavenly King Zhu was stunned. Before the start, he was still worried about this ridiculously weak white-haired guy. In the end, Heavenly King Zhu suddenly realized that this guy was much fiercer than he imagined. Chapter 579, Sweeping Through the Beast Tamers of the Seven Islands, 2. Chapter 579, Sweeping Through the Beast Tamers of the Seven Islands, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Tong Yang, Ning Tuanming, and the others opened their mouths slightly. They immediately understood that Legend Xiao Shuang and the others weren't lying. This person's strength might really not be inferior to theirs. President Yi actually hid and cultivated such a strong, precious student? Dong Huang's waters were deeper than they imagined. There were actually so many geniuses. They suddenly felt that there should still be many geniuses like Lu Bai who had yet to participate in the sequence ranking. When they joined in later, the competition would probably be even more intense. The top 10 couldn't be guaranteed. Master Zheng Hai, the quasi-legendary beast tamer, also looked at his teacher, the tyrannical sea legend. He was very surprised. This Lu Bai was so strong. Initially, he was still disappointed that he couldn't participate in the challenge of the champion path, but seeing such a strong beast tamer replace him, Zheng Hai's heart immediately relaxed. Unfortunately, if it was Lu Qingyi or that Shi Yu, perhaps it would be better. Shi Yu's move directly made the beast tamers of the Seven Islands silent. After being stunned, tyrannical sea legend laughed, but he was also shocked in his heart. Wasn't this Senior Ice Dragon's heavenly frost cold energy? The reincarnation of the blue sea sprite had actually learned it? However, when he thought of how Shi Yu's butterfly of imagination could create a badge with the heavenly frost cold energy, thought of the relationship between Shi Yu and the Ice Dragon, and thought of the countless possibilities contained in the blue sea sprite reincarnation that had lived for hundreds of millions of years, he was relieved. As expected of the number one person below the legend of Dong Huang. No wonder he was so confident at the start. The blue sea sprite reincarnation that had been strengthened by legendary resources and the many top-notch resources of Dragon Palace City and Dong Huang might have already firmly occupied the second throne in Shi Yu's team. It was only inferior to the 9-Li battle beast that had swallowed more resources and defeated the Void Mantis and Jifeng as Shi Yu's main pet. As I said, Lu Bai. He's good at training pets. His ice element pet grasps the power of time. Apart from that, under his special cultivation talent, various attributes such as energy value aren't as simple as the results of the index. The tyrannical sea legend maintained a calm expression and said calmly. His words made the beast tamers of the Seven Islands fall silent again. 100 God, at this moment, as the guardian of the 8th level, the strongest master of the new generation of the Seven Islands, 1000 River 100 God, was still watching. The girl beside him asked with a serious expression, "Do you have a way to withstand that snowstorm just now?" At this moment, Baishan was also silent for a moment before saying, "Stop kidding. It's just that Yi was being stupid again." If he entered a strengthening state at the same time he summoned his pet and dealt with it with all his might, with the temperature of his Hellfire Hound's flames, it's completely impossible for the time in the surrounding domain to be frozen. It's just close to 6 million energy points. Unless the energy level of that ice elemental life form is higher, I have 100 ways to ignore this skill. After the 100 God finished speaking, he also looked down solemnly. He had never fought a beast tamer who was proficient in time. The premise he mentioned was that the power displayed by the ice element just now was the limit. If this ice elemental also had the battle power of a top-notch monarch and its energy level could exceed 10 million, he would feel that it was difficult to deal with, but time skill. The consumption should be very high, the 100 God muttered in their hearts. The consumption of the heavenly frost cold energy was indeed very high. It required a huge amount of energy. As a super skill, using the heavenly frost cold energy once consumed more energy than using the wave cannon 5 times. However, that was for ordinary monarch level pets. For Susu, who had mastered Infinite Devour, this was called consumption? At this moment, Shi Yu and the others had no intention of resting under everyone's gaze. They continued forward. In Susu's Infinite Devour space, it was filled with a large number of ice element and water element energy crystals. They were being converted into energy at a high speed. In terms of using equipment to increase battle power, Susu might not be as good as Buggy, who had mastered illusions, but in terms of efficiently transforming the resources in its body into energy, Buggy was definitely inferior to Susu, who had mastered Infinite Devour. How could the legendary sea tyrant's Leviathan be called an invincible overlord that could fight totems? It was all because the space in its body stored an entire ocean army. An army of Krakens. At the moment, it was easy for Susu to use energy crystals to replenish its consumption. The efficiency exceeded the imagination of outsiders, just like how Ji-Feng's elemental lord could store hundreds of millions of energy points in its body. Although it couldn't be displayed to strengthen itself at once like 11's sharp eruption, it could be used to replenish consumption. Shiyu walked calmly while Susu followed quietly beside him. Ning tilde right now, Susu enjoyed this state very much. Not only because it was the only one fighting side by side with Shiyu, but also because it was fighting the beast tamers and pets of the Seven Islands. Susu was especially excited. It strongly requested that it be given all 10 levels so that Kai Tong could rest. We can try. Who's next? Shiyu left for a while. This period of time was also used to recover Susu's energy. Soon, a middle-aged man in a furry coat with the image of a tough guy was waiting for Shiyu and the others at the top of the mountain. He was discovered by Shiyu. Beside him stood a huge dragon. This dragon had a white body and blue wings. It had a strong body like a traditional dragon. It was more than 10 meters tall and emitted a powerful dragon might. Chapter 580, Sweeping Through the Beast Tamers of the Seven Islands, 3. Chapter 580, Sweeping Through the Beast Tamers of the Seven Islands, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Roar! The middle-aged man and the dragon looked at Shiyu and the others coldly and cautiously. The middle-aged beast tamer already knew the process and outcome of the battle between Shiyu and Quan Rongye just now, so he naturally didn't dare to be sloppy when facing Shiyu. The moment Shiyu appeared and the two of them officially came into contact, the middle-aged man's entire body emitted a powerful aura. His wind element strengthening talent also worked on his storm dragon. Roar! Name: Storm Dragon. Attributes: Dragon, Wind. Race level: Low-level Overlord. Level of growth: Monarch level. Energy points: 10,980,000. After being strengthened by the Beast Tamer, the energy level of the Storm Dragon easily entered the ranks of top-notch monarchs. In addition to the incomparably powerful physique and dragon might of the dragon race, their terrifying might instantly pressed down on Shiyu and the others. At this moment, Shiyu's confrontation with the second guardian once again became the focus of all the beast tamers of Dong Huang and the Seven Islands on the sky ship. Captain Da Quan. Originally a beast tamer of the Seven Islands Navy, he began to travel on the sea alone on a boat in order to break through the limit after leaving the Navy. After experiencing a near-death experience, not only did he successfully reach the West, but he also contracted a dragon of an overlord race during the trip. After returning, he became a first-rate expert among the top masters of the Seven Islands. The beast tamers of the Seven Islands present all knew the person in front of them. This Captain Da Quan was no longer a new generation beast tamer of the Seven Islands, but an experienced top-notch master of the Strength faction. He had experienced countless life and death battles in his life and had rich battle experience. In addition, it had contracted a dragon of an overlord race. Its strength was definitely stronger than Quan Rongye just now. However, just as the beast tamers of the Seven Islands looked at Captain Da Quan with anticipation, wanting to see Captain Da Quan, who had not underestimated the enemy and was prepared in advance so he could give the Dong Huang challenger in front of them a lesson. A scene that stunned them again appeared. Countless beast tamers from the Seven Islands holding the energy detection index looked at the energy value data of the machine in their hands in a daze. 2 million? 3 million? 4 million? 10 million? 18 million? The ice elemental life form that had only displayed nearly 6 million energy points just now had its energy fluctuations increased to an unbelievable 18 million without any warning. Finish it, Shiyu said, letting Susu use the combination skill developed after the team competition. First, he used the power of the time fruit stored in the infinite devouring space to increase its energy level to 18 million. This wasn't cheating. As long as it was power that a pet could store and digest in its body, it was its own strength. After all, which pet didn't use the energy accumulated and replenished by eating various food? In that case, it was very reasonable for Susu to eat the time fruit as its basic food and store its energy in its body. This was its unique ability to master infinite devour. However, at this moment, it was far from the limit of Susu's potential, far from the limit of the time fruit. The burden Susu needed to bear had not reached the peak. After all, at the moment, if the time fruit could be used to the limit, it could instantly increase the energy value of each of Shiyu's main pets to about 50 million. This was the normal energy value of an overlord race. It was also the limit they could withstand. It was just that the opponent in front of them wasn't worth Shiyu and Susu going all out. After all, after that attack, they really wouldn't have any strength left. 18 million was enough. It could still recover as if nothing had happened. At the same time, due to the effect of the super skill Holy Water Ring, the side effects of increasing to 18 million energy points were still decreasing. Skill, Holy Water Ring. Introduction: it's a super water type skill. It creates a resistance water ring. When affected by the abnormal state of its life form, it reduces the effect of the abnormal state and increases the effect of the water type skill. After the burden of using the power of time to increase strength was reduced by a portion by the Holy Water Ring, the power of Susu's water element skill was strengthened a second time by the time fruit. After 2 terrifying stages of strengthening, facing the opponent in front of it, Susu only used a very ordinary mid-level skill. Frozen Water. Nink. In the face of the storm raised by the storm dragon in the distance, Susu only raised the ice sword in its hand. At the same time, a crystalline water ring wrapped around its wrist like an ice ring accessory and connected to the ice sword. At the edge of the sword, frozen water filled the air, lingering with cold air. Then, Susu gently swung down. In an instant, the frozen water turned into a water slash that swept with cold air, like a blue sword arc, slashing at the storm dragon. Wherever the water sword arc passed, cold air erupted like a frozen world. The storm that filled the sky was frozen into a snowstorm and counterattacked with a bang. The terrifying ice power directly made the pupils of Captain Great Spring and the storm dragon opposite shrink. Boom! The mountain peak turned into an ice mountain. The huge dragon that wanted to spread its wings and escape also turned into a beautiful ice sculpture like the huge dog from before. On its chest, a frost blade that penetrated the dragon scales was obvious. It was shocking. After the attack, Susu's aura calmed down again and returned to normal. It continued to walk down the mountain with Shiyu to the 3rd level. Only the stunned beast tamers of the 7 islands were left. Although they had already realized Shiyu's extraordinariness through the time element skill just now, as Shiyu and the ice element pet effortlessly used pure energy levels to crush their opponents in the 2nd round, the beast tamers of the 7 islands immediately felt their hair stand on end.